And we're back!
Here we go,
Episode
baby.
7!
We're
We
in
are
this.
talking metalcore. We are talking the tick and the talk with our boy Joey Ruthless Vault on TikTok. What is going on, my man?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I am splendid now that my microphone works and nothing's on fire in the background. We are doing well. I am joined, as always, by my cohort, Mr. Bryan Kern.
How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? We are here. We finally got it working. We're finally here in one unit. We're about to share some experiences. We're about to get weird. It's okay. We're here.
Lady
I'm down
and
for it.
gentlemen. Yeah, I think we have a few ladies. We did
It's
really
one
good.
girl and like it's Becca
Mainly?
Manila. It's Becca Manila and all dudes.
Oh,
That's all
is she related to Nelson Mandela?
Manila, not Manila.
Oh,
Oh no.
my
Manila.
bad. Shouts to Tyler James Charles Lance. He has 4 first names, and he is a Cheesetarian. Shout out to Trent Knox. And I can't see the other 808 people that are watching.
True story. Tyler used to just melt cheese on a plate and eat it.
True story, when I met Tyler, he said he was a vegetarian, but I actually never saw him eat a vegetable. And hello, Riley Nicole. Thank you for being a lady, and thank you for joining us. We are super stoked on your gender tonight. Haley Renee Johnston is here. She is a model, so book her in your music video or your album cover, or you are lame.
What's up, Andrew? My boy Andrew's in this piece.
Andrew?
He's got a fat piece too, by the way, but we'll save that
Whoa.
for the after show. We'll save that for the Instagram after show.
It's been like 5 straight shows that we've shouted out our friends' large penises.
Yeah, it has been. I think it should just be
Gotta rep.
just like our boy 6ix9ine. It should be a recurring theme that we have.
6ix9ine is a recurring theme.
Is that the segue?
That's,
Are we getting into it?
that's a hell of a segue. Remind me to give you a pay raise.
You're welcome.
6ix9ine's always in the news, and he did it again, folks. Last week he was complaining about Billboard and screwing him out of the number 2 spot. Not the number 1, but the number two spot. This week he's beefing with more people. Justin Bieber stepped up in Ariana Grande's defense and said, if you're going to say her name, you need to say my name, bro. Which I'm sure he didn't say it like that at all because it's fucking Bieber. But he did address Justin Bieber. He did address both of them, and he was pretty upset that they beat him in the Billboard charts. Now he's beefing with rapper Rich the Kid. Rich the Kid has over $200,000 in unpaid jewelry that recently came out this week. He has not paid for his jewelry, and 6ix9ine, being the best hall monitor in the rap game, has snitched him out and said that he's threatening to call 911 on him. Let me grab my shoe phone. 911 does not work on a shoe phone, ladies and gentlemen. That is the one downfall about that. So we don't call the cops. Fuck 12. We
Fuck
also
12.
do not. You'll never see iHateTheScene donating to any local police officers.
I was going to say a safety tip. You can actually call 911 from any cell phone, regardless of reception. So just safety
It is
tip.
true, yes. If you're ever in danger and you got a dead cell phone in your pocket, or like Bryan when he recorded me on stage at the evidence show and his cell phone then died and I never recovered the video and I still hold a grudge to him for this day, you can still dial 911 on such a phone. That's an inside joke because I have a lot of grudges against Bryan from our childhood.
And nobody gets it.
That's what best friends do.
That's why we're so close.
Some people.
So 6ix9ine, yeah, he's shitting on more people. He's beefing with Rich the Kid. Joey, do you at all listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Because he's so famous on TikTok right now with his recent song, I can't get away from it. But like,
Yes.
like I have never like just like taken the time to just like sit down and listen to him. Because
You can't sit down and listen to it. You have to stand up and
just jump around. I was telling you earlier, I'm not really like about his stuff, but I gotta admit it does make me laugh.
I was stoked that you caught on to it, and you said you kind of like alluded to the fact that he's just kind of trolling everyone, and he's a big magnet for.
Oh no, he
controversy.
definitely is. Like, if you haven't figured that out yet, then I don't know what you're doing.
You're definitely
Truth.
not playing the internet right, because a lot of people that, for instance, I was on my Xbox Live. I was playing with a friend of mine under the username Foamy Llama Farts, which is a great
Nice.
username. Shouts
Tyler,
to Aaron.
Shout outs to Tyler knowing all about foamy llama farts on his farm.
That's awful. Shouts to Aaron from San Antonio. I don't know your last name because I barely met you, but yeah, Foamy Llama Farts on Xbox is his gamer tag, and he was going off about how 6ix9ine is shit and this and that, and I asked him, "Have you heard his music?" And he said, "No." And that sums up everyone who's ever shitted on Tekashi 6ix9ine. They don't listen to his music.
I can admit that used to be me until my friend like summed it up for me the other day.
It
Hey,
was me too, bro. It was me too.
If there's an introductory track, Gooba, his most recent one, I highly recommend. One, he's got some phenomenal co-stars in the video. I just want to point that out. And for
Leave it
two,
to the double thick thighs twin sisters.
yeah, and for two, to be his first video out after being released, and to all the steam that it caught, it's a great introductory to why you almost want to appreciate 6ix9ine. And if I may, can I give my 6ix9ine piece here?
I'd love for you to give your 6ix9ine piece.
I feel that 6ix9ine's missed an opportunity of being an investigative journalist here. I almost feel like he should ditch the rap game and just go into this investigative work. Clearly, he's onto something.
With his high level of education, he would be great
I
for a
don't know.
journalism role.
I don't know if you all follow I Hate the Scene at all on Facebook, but if you do, which I imagine you do, then I suggest you watch the video where he actually does the calling out of Billboard, and he uses this analogy of apples being red, which is just groundbreaking in a defense
6
case.
credit cards.
And I think that there's something to be said for that. I think there's something to be said for what he's going after. He let's be real, he has claimed to fame as snitching. Why not be the biggest snitch in the game and solve the biggest mysteries? So I came up with a list of mysteries that I believe investigator 6ix9ine should solve.
Oh my God! Here we
And
go.
Investigator
list-
6ix9ine.
I'm just gonna list a couple
Where
off.
in the world is Tekashi 6ix9ine?
The first one, we should definitely immediately put him on what the fuck is going on with Corona. He needs to figure that out. Is it a lab created thing? Is it the wet market? Is it going to come back? Is it going to spike? Who's going to win
New
the
York
election?
was a hotbed for Corona, and he is the king of New York.
We need to put him on that. We have to get him to figure out whether or not Epstein really did kill himself. That's got to be number 2. I feel like John Bonet needs to be solved.
Oh, no.
A lot of people believe it's her brother. I'm in that camp as well, but we never know.
I thought it was her parents.
Let's get 6ix9ine on it. And the most convincing one I would almost think that would maybe fall in his lap would be the Zodiac Killer. Now let me explain this one. I believe he has half of the Zodiac letters on his body already. And I feel like if he was just to transcribe it, if he was just to put it into like real plain English for everybody, he could crack the case. So I believe that investigator 6ix9ine should be doing that.
Shouts to the 8 viewers we immediately lost when we did this segment.
Oh no. You're missing out.
Oh man, quality comedy. I think.
I don't think a lot of our demographic knows who John Bonet is or understands the Zodiac Killer unless they heard about the Zodiac Killer being Ted Cruz. But they probably don't know who Ted Cruz is either.
True statement.
Joey,
true.
do you know who Ted Cruz is?
Yeah.
Oh, point.
Do you know who the Zodiac Killer is?
Yeah. But
'Cause
I
of the
feel like
movie.
I feel like people have recently
It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, dude, phenomenal. It's a real
I haven't
thing,
seen
not a
that one.
movie.
I
It's a
wish-
real thing, like real murder.
I never watched the movie, but like I did go on like a Jake Gyllenhaal like movie like craze.
Yeah, you did.
During
Nightcrawler,
quarantine?
son. Nightcrawler, son. What's up?
Oh, dude, I watched End of Watch. Like that was the most recent one I watched.
Yo,
Yep.
that is
I
a
cry.
very
I cry every
underappreciated
time.
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, that and Four Brothers. That and Four Brothers, 2 fucking
Yeah.
badass shoot 'em up manly movies where you bawl the whole time almost.
Oh,
End of
dude.
Watch is very underappreciated, so I'm
True.
stoked to hear people still go and
Truth.
look that shit up.
It's great. It got put on Netflix again recently too, so
Hey,
I
Shouts to-
couldn't resist.
shouts to our sponsor, Netflix. No, just kidding. They don't pay us a dime. I could get sued for that.
A little bit.
Any other things you want Tekashi to solve? Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle would be a
aliens.
nice one.
It's aliens. I mean, let's be real.
I feel like he should try and solve the Hindenburg blowing up.
I know what blew up the
Yeah, helium
Hindenburg.
balloon, bro. It's not really.
No,
yeah.
that's still a thing. Because whenever
Yeah.
I was in college, they still theorize about it, and I had to write a
Dude.
paper on it.
I mean,
You know, I'm glad you say you went to college because I was
Okay.
wondering where you got your degree in metalcore from. So good.
Well, I dropped out of college, but
FSU, sir. Obviously.
That makes 2 of us, buddy. Yeah, we're like Kanye.
FSU. No
Oh,
FSU
yes.
love. No FSU joke. Nobody got
Florida State, fuck
it.
shit
No.
up.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what you want to get jumped in SoCal, Bryan?
They don't exist anymore, do they?
I don't know. I just remember seeing their name on an overpass. Okay, brief history in Southern California, and hopefully this doesn't exist anywhere else. And shouts to the 20 people we just lost by bringing this up.
Real quick, I'm gonna go grab it. Keep talking.
FSU was a crew. A crew is like a gang that goes to metal shows. So when you know, not at your normal venues like an all ages venue, but maybe like a warehouse show or somewhere in like, I don't know, Hemet, California, where everyone's straight edge and they want to beat up people that smoke cigarettes. You get these skinhead looking gangs and they do the big windmill move and they back up into a crowd and they hit you. Or they just say, hey, you see that guy in that 4-year strong t-shirt? Well, I'm going to fucking beat him up. And then they just beat your ass for no apparent reason because they don't like the band you're wearing. It's really stupid. There's another one called Heavy Hands.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Me.
Oh, this is the universe. This is the universe talking
They're
to us.
pussies.
Are you ready for this? I want to introduce you to the beer that I'm about to consume. Heavy Hands IPA.
Oh,
Heavy
fuck.
Hands
This was a
IPA,
setup.
baby.
This was
Shout
a
out to
setup.
the 760 crews, the 760 hardcore crews that are fucking gonna eventually stumble upon this as they're searching for metalcore, and they go through the ranks of entertainment and they come across this podcast and they realize that we are sitting here talking about them and how disastrous they were, and to realize that they're no better than probably any gangs. But hey, shout out, because you know what? They gave us some good times, guys. Hands
Yeah,
down.
shout out to Heavy
down.
Hands and Dario that's probably in prison right now, and shout out to all those
He's
beatdown
actually a
bands that
cop,
existed
so
for 2 months.
I don't know why you gotta be an
He's
asshole.
a cop. He had a criminal
you know?
record.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah, he had
are
a
you
You
fuck
talking
mentioned
about?
beatdown, yes.
Ah, man.
Not the fun kind of beatdown, the type of beatdown that the band exists for like 2 months and then half the members either go to jail or
not
get
the turn
shot.
I anticipated
Oh.
this taking. Oh my god.
There's
Okay.
one bit of news that I was reluctant in bringing up because I absolutely despise this band. I don't like their tactics. And quite honestly, game recognize game. So troll recognize troll. This will be the one time you ever hear me bring this band up. Trapped.
Oh wow, I didn't even see this coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's hear it.
Headstrong, I'll suck your dong, however the song goes. I don't remember. There is a petition currently, right now, with over
Didn't we-
15,000 signatures to get Trapped, to make sure that they are not a part of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes that are soon coming out. So this combines our music and gaming news. Shout out to all my nerds, and shout out to the 4 people
Shout
that
out.
stopped watching when I said Trapped.
4 people.
Trapped were never, ever featured in a Tony Hawk video game soundtrack ever.
Facts.
Headstrong came out in 02. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater started coming out in like what, 99?
Facts.
Tony Hawk 2 I think came out in 2000 or 2001, somewhere around there. I don't understand why there's a petition, but apparently, and this could be a joke gone wrong, or this could just be the brilliant trolling extra publicity that Trap's been going for.
I researched it. I know the answer.
Did they put the tweet out saying that they were on the soundtrack? It's a fake tweet, right?
Yep.
Okay, it's a fake tweet, and it said that there will be no dancing Gavins.
Yes. Exactly. Which I thought was fucking hilarious. And I almost
Oh my
tempted
God.
to send it to you, but I didn't want to get you all riled up about you fucking talking about Trapped. But I was like, bro, Dancing Gavins is fucking hilarious. No Dancing Gavins is probably the funniest fucking thing I've seen. And it wasn't a fake tweet. What it was is it was a photoshopped tweet. And a like publication covered the photoshopped tweet. So it looked like it was coming from the Trapped account, and it looked like it actually said that there will be no Dancing Gavins because it was an actual tweet, but it was just photoshopped to be from that account.
Those reliable sources like Metal Injection and Metal
And
Sucks
so-
and Loudwire, they're all about as reliable as Dave Meltzer, which
And
is
what
only a
sucks-
joke for wrestling fans.
What sucks for the people that don't want to give this dude any credit is he's like, look at that. We didn't even fucking have to petition for it. And like, hey, I bet you they're fucking, I bet you there's a fucking trap song on there.
There's
I almost can guarantee it.
There's not. They're keeping the soundtracks the same.
Are they? Okay,
Never,
okay,
There's
okay.
never.
I
enough
think they should include some new stuff though. Like keep the
I
same stuff
thought
that
that
they
they
had
might.
before.
new songs, as in like new for this day or new for that era.
For
I
today.
think just like that. I think maybe just like popular songs and like skateboarding though. Like
So
like
what's a
in
good
that, like-
skateboarding song right now?
See,
ooh,
Right? That's
I be
difficult.
selective? Can I be selective? I mean,
If
hooligans.
you say less than Jake, I'm gonna disconnect you.
Hooligans by fucking issues. I mean, really, a ska or a punk band would still elicit some sort of like, angsty fucking thing. Skateboard, people still skate. People still skate for the
Does
same
ska
reasons they did
still
in the
exist,
90s.
or is it just the
Yeah.
music?
It does,
releases?
yeah.
Yeah, Less Than Jake, I think, just put out stuff recently. My guy, like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goldfinger has been like blowing up on YouTube
Yes,
recently.
Goldfinger's been fucking killing it, dude. Because Goldfinger doesn't stop. They do their St. Patty's show out here every year with Vaughn and Molly. They do a bunch of shit, dude. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Goldfinger because they have seen a spike in YouTube views because of the Tony Hawk remakes that they were heavily featured on with their song Superman. And
Good.
we are going to have a member of Goldfinger on this show in about 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. I'm very stoked on that. That is a rare
I'm gonna
gift
be
for
watching
us.
that.
Oh, hell yeah. But back to Trapped. Trapped is terrible. They do everything that they do for publicity. They go at Sumerian bands. They go at metal bands. They've been going at Dance Gavin for a while, so it's believable that they would have a tweet that said no dancing Gavins. Of course, Tillian took all this seriously and responded to it. Dance Gavin's vocalist. Of
hilarious.
course. He's had to take time out of his busy day of telling a fan about the hot chicks he hooked up with the night before.
Engaged, my guy. Wow. Wow.
Oh, too much? Sorry. Yeah, shouts to the
He's
TM Travis
engaged. I
Wade.
think he's engaged.
Yeah, he was
Recently.
engaged when I knew him too. So yeah,
Fair.
good
Fair.
for those guys. Trap will not be on the Tony Hawk remakes, and the petition is absolutely useless. But it goes to show you how many people hate them that they will sign a petition to keep them off a video game they were never a part of.
It's fucking great.
It's funny to me
strong.
that there was actually a petition for that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a petition for fucking everything, dude. Like, if you go to change.org, you'll see that there was quickly a petition for KFC to bring back potato wedges. That's an issue that I think is like
No, that's a
unaddressed.
you thing. That's a you thing, my guy. That's only you. Potato wedges from KFC are dry as fuck. I was thinking about that last night after you told
You
me.
take
and
it
I was
back.
like, this
You
is
take that
outlandish.
shit back right now. I
Not
swear
gonna.
to
Not
God.
gonna. No. I don't
You
need
might
to.
as well have called me a homophobic slur because that is just disgusting talk.
Yeah, you might be.
Their potato wedges are delicious, and you take the KFC hot sauce that only tastes good on their food, rip it ever so slightly, and just drizzle it on the potato wedge. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
If I had to choose between gagging on a wiener or a dry ass potato wedge from KFC, it'd probably be a wiener.
Now all our wiener gaggers are gonna fucking log off. Shouts to Jonathan Morris, who says there's no good music today. Shouts to Daniel Reyes, who says grown-ass men beating on kids is whack. And
our
shouts
wiener
to
gaggers.
Lindsay Nicole Bradley, who says her goal is to get blocked by Trapped on Twitter. It's always good to dream, Lindsay.
Is Trapped going through like an active block list? Are they like actively seeking to block people that talk too much shit? I feel like, come on, dude, isn't everybody talking shit? You're just
Isn't
gonna
that
block
counteract-
everybody.
I would want to
They're
hop
trying
on
to
that.
Okay, so all right, can we still talk about Trap for a second? Like, what's the allure about talking shit about him? Because they were at least a part of my teenage years because it was 2002 when the song came out in high school, right? Me and Matt definitely probably jammed out to Headstrong a couple times, and
I think
you know,
everyone has.
yeah, and to for him to be relevant or for the band to be relevant and for them to be just discussing themselves in a manner that like he is this fucking Trumper that's people aren't even about.
He
and then
is
for people,
so fucking conservative
it's so
on
cringy.
his Twitter.
He don't even politics into it. He's just cringe. You can tell why he's doing whatever it is he's doing, and the fact that people pay attention to it is annoying, yes. But what captures me personally is that like our bands we listen to, Dance Gavin, these other fucking artists are responding to it because they're our age. These are their idols, kind of, not in an ideological sense where like, oh my god, they're the best, but come on, dude, Headstrong. Everybody fucking knows Headstrong. Let's be real, and so to have him just be berating them in like this in this outlandish way and manner is
He went at a whole label. Like, he shit all over Sumerian. And, like,
He did.
all the bands went back at him.
Wait, but like a lot of people do though.
Oh, that's a valid point, Joe.
That is true.
That is a
true.
valid fucking
I
point.
have
Even
They're
their
not the
own
first
bands
ones.
shit on the label.
I have people that hate Sumerian with like a passion, and you can just mention a band is on Sumerian, and they're like, I don't give a fuck. I hate them. I hate them.
Sumerian had a really good rep at one point, but around...
They had a great roster at one point too.
Yeah, they did. Around 2013, things started to kind of take a dive, and like their top bands started like either releasing shit really slow or like disappearing. And man, I've met a few of the bands who They went from having a good rep to being like, yo, fuck Sumerian, fuck Ash. They're not doing at all what they said they were gonna do. I know one band in particular was very upset that they signed a deal to Sumerian. They were promised that their songs were going to get sent to radio, and Ash simply would not send them, and they had to have their manager threaten to send them over there or they would drop, that they would just not release music anymore. It was fucking crazy. So we're done with Trapped, right? We can move on to Trust Company now.
Wow, I was thinking Smile Empty Soul.
Wow, I was thinking Bouncing Souls.
Not
No, I was never thinking Bouncing Souls.
Yeah.
Ever.
We'll cut that out.
So the only news I have left on the docket is Corey Taylor of Slipknot has been secretly recording his solo debut album. He's been working with like some different band members. I think the drummer from Walls of Jericho is on it. It's nobody from Slipknot. It's like one dude from Stone Sour. He says that this is going to be material that was not accepted for Slipknot or Stone Sour. I personally think this is going to fucking suck. I wish it wouldn't. I wish it was cool. But we've seen recently that when you're in a widely successful rock band or metal band and you try to go solo, it doesn't work out. The Hayley Williams CD from earlier this month, I mean, I don't know a lot of bands more popular than Paramore. Her solo record was terrible. I'm trying to think.
I actually haven't listened to it.
Bro, we had someone on that works with female vocalists like almost exclusively, and he said straight up like her voice sounds great, but the music behind it is terrible and boring.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from Paramore, it's such a letdown. I can only think back to like Gwen Stefani surpassing expectations. She went solo, and it's like shit. People could have forgot about No Doubt at that point. I don't think No Doubt released a CD after that, but Gwen sure did. She blew up.
I mean, there's people that have gone solo in different capacities.
Maybe in the 80s and 90s.
I mean, look at fucking Skrillex. I mean,
Skrillex broke off from his band. He was no longer in a band.
the point is he went solo. Like,
And what was crazy is when that happened, I was a huge FFTL fan. Remember you told me that nobody liked FFTL, and I was like, I want to be the guy that likes them. And I got into their really emo music, and then
it
he
wasn't
quit.
that anybody didn't. It wasn't that people didn't like him. It was that because right around that time that you started getting into them, Sonny had left, and it was weird because originally Sonny wasn't in the band. It was a different guy when they did their EP. So when Sonny joined the band, he was like 16, 15 or something like that. He was super young, and he was like belting out.
He was supposed to be the guitarist, and then I don't know how this happened, but they said they heard him sing, and then they wanted him in the band.
Yeah,
dude, I love those records, but that kid didn't sing right.
No, and that was the point. He like fucked up his vocal cords, and he wasn't able to perform live. The Warp Tour in 2006, I believe, Cove from Seosin took over for a lot of their sets.
Chelsea Cove Rebar.
Yep, because you know, he wasn't able to perform, and then eventually he just left, you know, and from first to last went on and did their stuff without him, which was still really, really good. And Skrillex,
The stuff with Matt Good was really good. They were mainstream.
And Skrillex, hands down, changed EDM and dance music for sure, you know. And
I don't have a problem if people credit Skrillex with creating dubstep. I know he didn't create.
Have you heard the
he
stuff
is
since
one
he's
that
been
put it
back?
in the forefront.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
heard-
he definitely like boosted it to mainstream.
Yeah, and have you heard the stuff now that he's done his collabs with From First to Last? It's phenomenal. It's so good.
I haven't.
Oh, you should
I
listen to
keep
it.
hearing that they're
There's
gonna
a-
do another album.
It's so no. They were originally gonna do an album, right? And they did a couple shows in Los Angeles together. But so far, I believe they've only released 3 tracks, but they're phenomenal. You guys got to listen to them. It's really crazy because you hear a Sonny Moore that still wants to be in From First to Last and still wants to take that part, but he's not that artist anymore. He's a different artist completely, and he kind of brings this aspect of that into From First to Last, which is fucking crazy. I just highly suggest you guys listen to it because it's really good. And
When
they're all
s-
relevant. They're all since like 2016, I want to say.
When Sonny quit From First to Last, he originally took the keyboardist and singer of Drop Dead Gorgeous, Aaron Rothie, and they were going to do a project together. I don't know if that was supposed to be Skrillex or if that was the Sonny material he did, but I remember like being mad at both of the singers of these bands leaving and being like, you know, you fucked up 2 of my favorite bands to go make dance music. Oh yeah, that'll really work. He'll never be heard from again, is what I
Now,
said. I was so wrong.
And Danny Stills makes rap. Danny Stills is a rapper.
Yeah, Danny Stillman about that.
Not successful, mind you.
Yeah,
I mean, no, he might be
about
successful.
that.
I didn't mean not successful, but it's just it's not like a Skrillex turn. It's not a Chiodos or a Craig Owens turn, right?
If anyone knows Danny Stills, have him get up with us because like he did another band. They were named after
Bleach
a
Blonde.
number. Bleach Blonde, and then
He
there
did
was
Bleach
another
Blonde.
one that they were a number. It wasn't 666, but it was some sort of number. And then like I haven't heard from him since, so I don't know what the hell he's doing. But you took me to see Drop Dead, and they were so weird because he
first show
just
ever.
stood there with his hair in front of his eyes, and he screamed his ass off without moving. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, he did. It was phenomenal.
Do you remember the guitarist like literally handed the guitar to the crowd and they took it and
The
he
tech had to
walked
go
off
grab it?
stage? Yeah, no, security had to go give me that fucking guitar.
Yeah.
That Joey, you would have loved this show because it was fucking wild. It
was, man. Yeah, it was.
Dance Gavin opened the show when it was like a week before their first full length came out. It was Alisana, A Day to Remember, who were actually unheard of at the time, and
I
the
have
headliner
only
was
seen A
Drop
Day
Dead
to Remember
Gorgeous.
once.
Where? What tour?
They toured. Oh, I think it was Moose Blood and Wage War.
Wow.
That was
Throwing some bows at that show.
and
Moose
it
Blood's
makes me
kinda
sad
weird.
too because that was I think that was when like their Bad Vibrations, or if that's the name of the album, came out, and I wasn't a big fan of it at the time.
Was it Bad Vibrations or Common Courtesy?
Probably Bad Vibrations because
I
Moose,
can't keep up with them.
Moose Blood's more around that time, I would say. Common
Did they
Courtesy
break
was
up?
like 2013. Moose Blood, I don't know.
I think.
Dude, every time I go on tour, I see somebody has like a Pelican case and there's a Moose Blood sticker on it. But like, I don't know anyone who really listens to them.
No one does. I don't think at least.
Whoa. Did anybody listen to Napoleon?
What the
Yes.
hell does that mean?
Okay. Fuck.
I have, yeah.
Fuck. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
wanna hear
he's
it
gonna
real
know
quick?
kind of
more
like
bands than
no.
you.
wanna hear-
Napoleon's
you wanna
kind
hear-
of like Dance Gavin Dance, but a little heavier.
You want to hear a real quick story? I have a tattoo on my thigh that's a Napoleon lyric, and they broke up.
Nice.
They broke up like in 2017, 18, and I was like, fuck, dude, I already wanted this tattoo, and I hadn't had it yet. And I was like, I really wanted this fucking tattoo. And I'd heard that they had broken up, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get it anyways. And I threw it on, and like, whenever people ask me about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this band Napoleon, and of course nobody ever hears about him, so I'm just like, cool, nobody listens to him. But then people in the scene, if they do know Napoleon, and they're just like, fuck Napoleon, I don't want to be like the guy that has the Napoleon tattoo. But dude, it's fucking so good, and yeah. So.
But they're really not bad. Like I don't understand why
They're good.
people,
Dude,
like,
the
what
whole
people have
UK
against them.
The whole UK scene, whether it be from Beatdown, like, you know, even, I don't know, maybe it's not the UK because I feel like Australia has a real great scene too. D's
Australia,
Nuts,
like low
In
key,
Heart's
they have
Wake.
some bangers.
Dude, In Heart's Wake and fucking D's Nuts. Like, regardless of how ridiculous
They're
they
from
are.
Australia.
I think they're
Yeah.
the dudes that were in Austrian
I
Death Machine, yeah, and another band. They're in D's Nuts,
I didn't know
yeah. I Killed the Prom Queen. Guys from I Killed the Prom Queen and Austrian Death Machine started D's Nuts, and yeah, and so
Amity Affliction.
yeah,
Oh
And s-
yeah, I know. I'm
so-
honestly not a big fan of Amity.
me either.
Oh,
my
what,
guy.
you don't like songs about suicide and ghosts, bro?
Me either, my guy.
And honestly, like I like
Their first
as
com-
much as like those speak to people, I'm so annoyed of hearing that in metalcore now. Like I want something different. I think that's why I went over to hardcore now and can't stand metalcore anymore.
Let's start talking.
Blame
Can we
you.
start? Can we start the
Their
interview?
whole
He's like,
album is
oh.
about that.
Can we start the interview? Let's go, my guy, because I got
Go
questions.
for it. I
you.
don't have shit to review
no.
this week.
I'm scared.
Well, let's do reviews real quick because I do want to shout out the couple albums I told you because I feel like they're relevant. I'm just gonna shout them out though.
The only in-depth review I did, and I'm pretty sure Joey doesn't give two shits about this album. Gunna. I love Gunna. Gunna with, you know, he's always rapping with Little Baby. He's an Atlanta rapper. He dropped an album called Wanna, which I guess is his alter ego, which brings up a good point. There's a lot of rappers nowadays who are doing alter egos, and I think Eminem started that with the Eminem Slim Shady thing. I know Future does it with Hendrix. I know J. Cole has an alter ego, but I forget what it is because I think J. Cole's boring as fuck. I know Logic goes by his real name. I remember back in 1990, Shock G went by Humpty Hump. Even Tupac went by Machiavelli the Don. And this is supposed to be like another side of Gunna, but there's literally nothing different from his last album to be showing you a different side, which is no problem at all because I like Drip or Drown. Hell, I want to drip, bro. I don't want to drown. Gunna is the king of drip. These songs are chill as shit. I feel if I was out in around Joey's Way in Arizona and it's hot as shit, I could put on a Gunna record and it would just be chilly in my car immediately without the AC on because he's just full of drip. It's super chill. He's not a mumble rapper, but he is very low key. He's not monotone like 21 Savage. He got some afflictions on his voice. I dig it. I dig the record a lot. Maybe not a 10 out of 10. But, it's at least 50 some minutes of music. A lot of rappers aren't doing that now. I really enjoyed it. It's going to be my number one for the week and probably my only, just because the 1975 disappointed the shit out of me. I don't like Russ because the internet told me not to like Russ. And the rapper from the K-pop band BTS released an album, but I can't pronounce his name. So that's going to make
There's a rapper in BTS?
Yeah, okay, you need to listen to some BTS because that shit is fire, bro. If you want to learn how to dance and shit, BTS is fire. Yeah, there's a rapper in there, and he released an album, but I have no idea how he pronounces his name. So
I think the only reason why I couldn't get onto BTS was just because of the fan base.
What? A bunch of chicks that like K-pop? What's wrong with you?
No, just a bunch of toxic people.
Okay. Play into that.
They
I've heard a
they
lot
really
about
are.
K-pop Twitter, but I don't know anything about it.
So whenever I was on Twitter, I came across a lot of K-pop stuff just because of some of the people that I would follow, and they're not nice. They're really not nice.
How so?
They're just they're very defensive when it comes to their music. I don't know.
You have to
I don't
agree
know.
with them.
Yeah.
Lindsay Nicole Bradley says shitty fan base, so she backs you up on that one.
But it's a lot of people with their fan bases too. Fan bases is kind of what ruins music. I used to be a huge fan of 21 Pilots back in the day, and then they blew up, and their fan base became really weird.
I really liked their last album. What was it? Or not the last one. The last one was relevant as shit. But what is it? Blurry Face. That record
I think
was
so,
incredible. Yeah. The last record, I didn't even know the shit came out, and it's already 2 or 3 years old now. So shouts to them for falling from grace because they were about the next best thing in music. The most toxic fan base out of any musical act, I will say, is hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, Suicide Boys. Worst fan base you could possibly deal with.
Wow.
And here's why.
I don't even know why. I don't even care why.
If
really?
you go to their shows, there are 16-year-old kids trying to sell you cocaine. I don't know about you, but I don't buy my cocaine from 16-year-olds.
Oh, fuck. I really hope none of my friends are watching this because I have a lot of friends that are obsessed with them.
Well, I hope all your friends are watching because we need more views.
Suicide Boys.
Oh, fuck.
Lindsay Nicole Bradley says, we ain't that bad. Okay, but the coke that you're selling is. Riley Nicole says, stans are the biggest gatekeepers. Those are two really crucial terms when you're dealing with fan bases and the internet in general. A stan, I think we all know what that is because Eminem coined the term, a psycho fan. And gatekeepers, those who, think they control the entire fan base.
Okay. Is that
I've actually never heard the term gatekeepers until right now.
Well, okay, so
I've only heard the term in wrestling, with Dolph Ziggler.
And I don't think it's accurate. The gatekeeper, at least for boxing and MMA, gatekeeper means the person that's always going to be in contention. If you want to be a contender for the championship, you have to beat this guy. He's that good. Maybe he's fought for the championship a couple times, but he's never won it. But if you want to be in that league, if you want to be at that level, you have to beat this guy. He's the gatekeeper. He doesn't let you in. You don't get to play in here because you're at the gatekeeper.
In the WWE, the gatekeeper, which I can say with shadow of a doubt, is Dolph Ziggler and Cassius Ohno. They are the ones who, when you're a new talent, you're new to the company, they pitch you against those guys.
Yeah, to test
you. That's your first match. Do
you get to go in or no?
Yeah,
you need to play inside.
They're the ones that are keeping the gate.
Exactly. But they have to have a standard.
is a gatekeeper of like K-pop, for instance. Is that the one that's like allowing or not allowing new fans into the genre? Because that's a whole another thing.
I think
People
it's the
that
ones.
like what?
No, go on, go on, go on.
People that like a genre of music that is very niche. K-pop's exploding now, so maybe not so much that. But for instance, when I liked metalcore, and this is one of the reasons we named the website I Hate the Scene. There were people that like all these underground quote unquote bands when they become popular, when they go mainstream, when a lot of people know who they are, they no longer like the band, whether it be because they went mainstream or because now they're not the best kept secret. Now, when you go to school and say, "Oh, my favorite band is Horse the Band," you know, and only 3 people in your entire school know who that is, and those are your close friends that you can talk about shit with. Well, if you liked Woe Is Me and then they break up and then Issues becomes a thing, and now you're talking about Issues and now everyone knows who that is, now you don't like that band because now everyone in your class knows who it is. It's very niche, so I can understand gatekeepers like, "Oh, we don't want you as a fan because you weren't there from the beginning."
Right. They're the ones that are going to have influence. They're the ones that are going to be some may have them on like the Mount Rushmore, right? Some may categorize them as the best in that genre or whatever it may be. But others, even if you don't categorize them as the best, take a Thrice for example, right? I love Thrice.
Oh, I
They're
don't
my
want to
favorite
take
band.
a Thrice.
They're my favorite band. A lot of people I think would consider them gatekeepers because they may not be everybody's favorite band or they may not be in everybody's favorite top 5, right? But if you look at like post-hardcore as a genre, if you didn't sound like a Thrice, if you didn't have that fast-paced tempo, that real quick illusion of safety, artist in the ambulance sound, that breakdown, that melodic, that blend, then you weren't post-hardcore. And I think you can have gatekeeper. And now I don't know K-pop, so I can't speak to this incident in particular, but if they're stopping a fan base from almost coming in because they did set the standard of what the genre's fan base should be and what the genre is, then yeah, they're the gatekeepers, absolutely. But they should only be able to set that standard and they should only be able to have that pull if they've earned it. And you know, it's like a census fail. Like the biggest thing for census fail for the longest time was that they always played the smallest stage at Warped Tour, but they were like one of the biggest bands, right? They'd pull one of the biggest crowds, but you put them on the shitty stage. And they would joke about it after a certain year because they were always on the Ernie Ball stage or the small stage. They never got the highlight.
The Ernie Ball stage is so shit.
Exactly. And they never got the highlight of the main stage, but their fucking census fail. They're phenomenal, right? But they would be a gatekeeper probably for some genre. And so if that's who you're talking about has that pull, like they have to have the qualifications for a gatekeeper, you have to be like top tier. Like you have to be among the best. If you're not the best, you have to be in contention for it in some eyes, right? You have to set the standard, right? And you have to do so in like you're able to speak to that. You're able to say, hey, you can't be a fan or you're not allowed in because you weren't here for this or you don't know about that route in our genre. And you have to have something that is going to be
right now, dude. Let me call you back.
like long standing. I think you have to have something that's going to transcend the short term and be long term and people are going to look at.
I want to tell one of my world famous irrelevant side stories about the Ernie Ball stage. I used to be in a band, not Bryan's shitty metalcore band, but a different band. And my singer worked for Ernie Ball. And we got to go along as if we won the Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands. So if you didn't know that shit's bullshit, now you do.
It's bullshit.
We never announced that we won the Battle of the Bands. We had to actively have a page and act like we competed in it, but we never won it, and we never competed truly in it. So the amount of votes we got didn't matter. But we got to advance on as if we did, but we didn't play that crappy Ernie Ball stage. I don't know how, but we were allowed to play the bigger stage that like Emarosa and Mayday Parade were on that year. And so
like the
my
monster
band,
stage.
The man, it wasn't that cool.
It
was the same size, but it wasn't that cool. It wasn't Alltech Lansing. It wasn't Kia. It was way before Kia joined. It was Warped Tour 2010 when Whitechapel and Suicide Silence played. It was like a dope-ass Warped Tour year. And my band, The Monopoly, got to play this stage, and we fucking killed it. It was dope as shit, and yeah, politics like that exist. So remember, kids, if you're in a band, it's all about who you know and not how good you are.
Do you have video
Start
footage?
kissing ass.
That is
Do you have
very
video
true.
footage?
I personally don't because I
Does
was
anybody?
on stage. My ex cheated on me that day with a band member, so she didn't film anything. And
if you do, they should put it up on iHateTheScene.com.
Shouts to Alex Maestas, Damian Garcia. Maybe one of them have it. I would say my singer's name, but he'll probably get in trouble from the Ball Brothers for what I just said, so I won't do that.
Let's find that. Let's find that footage.
I just remember when we did sound check, they asked, "Do you guys have keyboards?" And we go, no. He goes, "Do you have any programming?" We go, no. And he goes, "Oh, thank God." Because everyone that day had keyboards, programming, electronics, some backtrack that had to be run.
Well, yeah, it was 2010.
It was Attack Prime, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
That was only like, what was it? 07, 08 is the time when I thought to myself, if you have a keyboardist in your band, I want to buy your entire discography. Because I loved every band that did that. Prada, Scary Kids. I know I Wrestled a Bear once did it. Drop Dead had a piano.
Asking Alexandria.
They were in 09, but Asking Alexandria did.
In Fear and Faith.
This band broke up.
Oh my God, I forgot about them.
In Fear and Faith. Oh, hey, wait, okay, first of all.
Fath all day.
We didn't get to go to My New Music because In Fear and Faith is relevant in My New Music. I don't know.
Really?
Can we get to that?
Go ahead, I'll tune you out for 10 minutes.
Perfect. So My New Music, Gunna. I did listen to Wanna. Matt, you gave me a whole different perspective on the Gunna album because I did not know that Wanna was supposed to be his alternative personality. I didn't get that.
I know the A stands for authentic, but Wanna is actually an acronym. Wealthy under something authentic.
Cool. Doesn't change how I feel about the album. Still think it's like mediocre at best. I was gonna say that an album that did spark my attention and get my feels going was KSI. Now you may know KSI. Do you know of KSI, Joey?
Yeah, but I forgot he made music. I
Or
actually never
existed.
listened to it.
See?
Or
Forgot
existed,
he fucking
right?
existed, Bryan.
Yeah, no, me too.
He thought he
No.
died in the Twin Towers.
Yeah, no. Okay, so KSI to me hasn't been relevant since his fight with Logan Paul, which was a boxing match, and I am a combat sports fan, so of course I paid attention to that for a little bit, and it was irrelevant to me. And then they did it again, which broke other records, which was fucking phenomenal within
When you
itself.
said KSI, I thought it was a typo, and you meant Kill Switch Engage.
Okay, nobody cares. Anyways, so the whole point is that I did not pay attention to KSI either. I didn't give a fuck about KSI. I didn't care about KSI because the Logan Paul match was a fluff in of itself if you're a combat sports fan, but it was entertaining. I get it. And then so I listened to his album today. His album is called Dissimulation, which is coincidental, ironic.
That's a
maybe.
really big word for him.
Yeah, and you know, it might be a little bit of a dissimulation, but I listened to the Gunna album and the KSI albums back to back. KSI, I think, took this one for me, to be honest. I think that he had, you know, just the style of music is a little bit of an easier flow. I felt that Gunna, you tried getting me on Gunna a while back, man, and I'm sorry, I'm not into him. He's too mumbly.
I love the mumble. Do you like when he raps with Little Baby, though? Like, it's a good combo?
Little Baby I'm not into either, and I know I got hate for that, for not being into Little
Fuck
Baby
you,
from
man.
your
That's
fans.
bullshit,
Yeah,
man. Lil Baby dope.
I know, right?
Shouts to Justin Case, who confuses him with Dub Baby from Charlotte. They are two completely different rappers, even though they collabed on the same track called Baby.
Joey, give me this real quick. Who are you into rap at all or hip hop at all?
So I don't hate it. It's just
Yes or
I
no,
never
Joey?
got into
Real
it.
quick response there. Yes or no is all I need.
Naturally guess, bro. Kid Gloves.
Oh, I can respect it, but I can't.
So
get
it's a
into
no. It's a no. Okay, cool.
Sure.
And hey, I appreciate that. I won't bore you anymore. KSI was better if you had to jump into hip hop or rap today, and you had to listen to a new album that dropped today. I would say listen to Royce da 5'9's album that came out probably in February. So listen to that album, and you'll appreciate hip hop and rap a lot more than you would if you had to listen to KSI
Or if you don't
Gunna.
want a smart record, just listen to Little Uzi Vert.
Little Uzi Vert's recent one wasn't that bad, and Future's recent one wasn't that bad either.
Eternal Ataki from Little Uzi Vert, and something about being high from Future. I forgot the name. High Off Life? I
Yeah.
think it's High Off Life.
As far as our music goes, are you a Lion I Am fan?
Wait, is this me?
Or Musselwhite? Anybody? I don't care. Anyone? Is anybody a Lion I Am fan? No?
I'm not.
No.
No? Are you serious?
When you say Lion I Am, I don't know why, but I think Pedro the Lion, and they had a really funny album cover, and I don't listen to them either. Shouts to
Yeah,
Trent Knox that
I don't know
says
who that
"Pure
is.
Cocaine" by Little Baby is low key a Christmas song. I'm gonna have to listen to that again.
Just like how
Okay.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yo, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie, sir. I just want to let you know that real quick. I don't know why you think it's not a Christmas movie. Where do you
I
get
just had
off
to say
that
it for
it's
the
not,
meme.
sir? Oh, for the
There's
meme.
always the huge debate.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I understand. Anyways, my second track that I'm about happens to be from the band Lion I Am that you guys haven't heard of, and that's not surprising because their last release was in 2012, and I get it, they may not be on the hip end of the market, but they did release a song today featuring Scott Barnes, who is the former vocalist of In Fear and Faith. He was also
that's Scott.
Yes, he was also in the band Noble, which was the former screamer for At the Skylines, who me and Matt know. And so, yeah, I just thought it was interesting that in Fear and Faith, Scott Barnes was in a song from Lion I Am. They dropped it
Are you
today.
talking
It's
about
called-
Jordan Blake?
No. It's called Hollow. You guys can go check it out. There's also Jeff Rosenbach, which is or Rosenstock, I'm sorry, which is a punk artist. He's been in a couple different punk bands. He put out a solo album. It's his third solo album, and it's called No Dream, and it's pretty phenomenal. I liked it. I sent it to Matt. He didn't give two shits about it, but I enjoyed it because it's real music. It's real emotional, and it's a punk album. You know, you don't really get many punk albums that are fresh or that are fun to listen to. I listened to it while I was working out today. I listened to it while I was doing some research for shows.
That was a complete sentence when you said you don't get many punk albums. You could end it right there.
You don't. And but this was a fresh one. I enjoyed it. Do you listen to punk, Joey? Are you a punk fan?
I can get into it, yeah, like because a lot of my music does come from like punk, but
Who do you like?
Unless you're like hardcore, like into the punk scene, like you won't know anything. Like nothing's new about it.
Do you know Jeff Rosenstock or no?
No, I don't actually.
Nobody fucking knows who that is, Bryan.
Maybe look into him. You might like him if you're into punk. I think you might.
No, I definitely can enjoy punk, but when it just comes to like knowing, like, I guess getting to know the you know.
Right, I get it. Did anybody listen to Upon a Burning Body's new album? Maybe the only band that's relevant to what the fuck we're talking about, I guess. Anybody
that
listen
was
to their
dope.
new song? Five by
called?
three?
Wait.
5 by
It was
3?
dope.
They're still around.
God damn
Okay,
it.
nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. We're fucking 50 minutes into the show, and nobody gives a shit about anything that's come out. Matt gave us one album. I gave us 7. Nobody gave a fuck about any of them, especially Upon a Burning Body, which is the most relevant album or band or song or whatever, because I forgot what the fuck we're covering to this goddamn show.
Make them suffer.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Make them suffer. Yeah. It was great. It was phenomenal. Their album got pushed back. They had to push it back to July 24th. You're welcome.
It's
Thanks,
honestly
Bryan.
it
It's all your
upsets me
fault.
because their last album, like I couldn't really get into all that much, but this new music that they're coming out with, it's actually really good.
Can I ask you why you didn't get into their last album? Because it was different, yes, but I think Make Them Suffer is like the new Bleeding Through, and
I like that description.
it's something.
Female keyboard player, and they're hot.
I mean, no, I meant that because Bleeding Through came through with like that melodic hardcore, really heavy with the synth. They did have that really oppressive, like heavy beatdown style almost, but they were fast. They were hardcore bands, semi-straight edge, right? Because Brandon from Bleeding Through is straight edge.
Brandon Shapetti.
And so to
I
have
think he's
them,
vegan too. He's mad buff. Shout outs to whoever married Marta. She was beautiful.
to have them break through into the metalcore scene and to kind of take it by storm. I feel that Make Them Suffer is doing that right now, right? They're kind of bringing that new fast. It's like a melodic metalcore. It's really fast. It's a really fast pace, almost like a thrash metalcore almost. And they have a lot of similarities to Bleeding Through, but at the same time, they're kind of doing the same thing. They're coming on to what I want to say their third or fourth album. You know, they did the re-release of their first 2 albums where they remastered them, and that came out beautifully. So they're making a path for themselves. So I mean, I'm excited for it. They got pushed back because they're working on some mastering issues, but whatever. We're gonna get a new Make Them Suffer album in July, and it's gonna be.
They
phenomenal.
announced that publicly because that's kind of like a diss to the producer.
No, it's they wanted to make sure that it fit, and I think that's
they wanted to make
point.
sure that it was N95 approved. Corona. Cameron Turnham says the new Secret song is pretty dope. Yo, Secrets. That is a dope band. I've always enjoyed them. The singer is so fucking pop-like. and then they're able to kind of get heavy sometimes. And the bass player, what is his goddamn name? He looks like Rob Schneider. He is the coolest guy on the planet. He's remembered me from like a fan interaction from like 8 years ago, and then on Warped Tour 2016, I smoked with him several times. He's a good dude.
It's crazy to hear.
I love the people that do that though. They just remember their fans.
And you know what?
Because that means they care.
It's so impossible too, because I told him, I was like, yo, I hate asking this question, but do you remember me from like this date, this tour, this show in this state? And he was like, yeah, man, I do remember you, because I briefly interviewed them. And I don't know if he was just lying to make me feel better, but Warped Tour 2016 in the San Francisco date, which was like Sleep Train Amphitheater, me and him smoked, and it was dope. Good dude. Used to look like Rob Schneider, but way more fit and had a hotter chick. And I like those guys.
Yeah, beautiful.
There's a lot of albums this week that I just was not into.
There wasn't a lot of albums at all.
I really want to
weak.
complain to Rise, Fearless, Sumerian, Equal Vision, every single label that's not dropping enough albums during this pandemic. New music that I was excited by. You already mentioned Upon, so shout to my San Antonio boys, Upon a Burning Body. Ruben is the god, so shout to him. Crimson Apple, a K-pop band originally from Hawaii, living in LA. 4 beautiful sisters that released an awesome song. It has more rock elements than the last one. Everybody, fans of boy bands, girl bands, K-pop, and rock bands need to go check out this band. Crimson Apple, Break Your Heart Worse. They have a music video out right now. It's like a twisted tale and a love story about like basically like, oh, this girl hurt you, well, you should get over it by dating me, and I'm gonna break your heart worse. And I'm into that because I love when girls hurt me. Riley Nicole is asking Dance Gavin Dance. We already reviewed them several weeks ago. They don't really have anything new, but we love them. Shouts to Will Swan, and being a psycho, he will randomly quote what is that movie? True Romance with Christopher Walken, and tell you racial slurs that are insane. Crimson Apple is dope as shit. Definitely go check them out. Those girls are beautiful. Their music's amazing, and they're only getting better by every release. They have an EP out. I can only assume they're going to do a full length. Also, our guest for next week, who just released his solo material, Casey Sable, former vocalist of Periphery. He's got a dope-ass record out. He looks like Jesus on the album cover. I told him that. He says he gets that a lot recently. And he said that he should have added metal horns to the back of the dude so he looked like Lucifer. He's big into metal and prog metal. Casey Sable's dope as shit. If you're a fan of prog, if you're a fan of metal, or if you're a nerd with a guitar, you're going to enjoy next week's show. Lindsay Nicole Bradley, guess I'm the only one that's not a DGD fan. LMAO, I'm sorry. Hey, you don't have to be a fan of any of this shit. We don't discriminate any genre or any band, and you're going to hear the most brutal reviews and honesty from us.
We're
so
talking
if you don't
about,
like someone, tell us.
We're talking about Dance
honestly,
Gavin in the chats. I like Dance Gavin. We'll talk about it in the chat, guys. It's fine. Don't pay attention. It's okay.
Honestly, because Riley is actually a friend of mine, and she's gonna hate me for saying this. I don't like Dance Gavin Dance all that much.
Well, can you tell me why? Because
exactly.
I have several
I want to know why
don't.
too.
I'm not really a big fan of like the whole like math rock or math. I think they are math rock kind of.
No, they're not.
I couldn't get into all
but
the
I get what you're
stuff.
saying with the quick time signatures and shit.
The Swan Core.
Like,
The Swan Core. They're Swan Core.
Because like you mentioned Napoleon
vocalists?
earlier. Do I like what?
High pitched vocalists.
I think some bands can pull it off.
Can I interject real quick? Are you a Glassjaw fan?
I know of Glassjaw, but I never got around to listening to them.
He's 19, bro. Don't overload him.
I'm not trying to overload.
I know. I'm already getting like bombarded with like music
Glassjaw is a band that you
suggestions on TikTok.
No, Glassjaw is a band that you could carry over. They're pretty revolutionary as far as like.
They're revolutionary.
Metalcore,
they're not relevant.
Go. I mean, they kind of are because they put out a new song every couple of years, and they've come back recently. And he did head Automatica, so he does have that groovy potential to him. And you know, what I was gonna say is, I was gonna say that Dance Gavin they're different for the scene that they're thrown in. They're thrown into a lot of metalcore. They're thrown into a lot of pop punk. They're thrown into a lot of different genres that they blend with real well because they are kind of all over the place, but they're their own thing. And I think that's why, Will Swan has his own record label and has bands that are on it that sound like them. But for the most part,
think about that for a second. Will Swan has his own record label.
right?
Will Swan.
Yeah.
Will
I mean, it's brilliant.
fucking Swan.
It's brilliant. I mean, I listen, I'm surprised at how prominent these bands are in the scene. I'm surprised that he has his own festival because, yeah, let's be honest. Dance Gavin Dance, me and Matt have a running joke. Matt's first show, and me and Matt, well, you were disconnected. Me and Joey were talking about this. Matt's first show ever in the scene was a show that we went to for my friend Luke's birthday, and it was to see Dance Gavin Dance. It was a show we was talking about earlier, and the lineup was Dance Gavin Dance, A Day to Remember, Alice Santa, Drop Dead Gorgeous. And it was just this really weird concoction of bands, and we knew all of them except Dance Gavin Dance. And like me and Matt had listened to one or two songs, and it was from their Royal Coda EP, or not their Royal Coda.
Whatever I say is Royal Ocean.
Yes, whatever I say is Royal Ocean.
The importance of cocaine.
I mean, they just hit their anniversary of when their first album came out, and it was on May 16th. So, yeah, it came out in 2007, May 16th. We went and saw them, I'm pretty sure, that date, because Luke's
We
birthday.
saw them a week before the album came out. We bought it early. They were selling copies of it at the merch stand. And, shouts out to bands that used to sell their T-shirts for $10 and $15.
Yeah.
Fuck a $30 T-shirt. I'm looking at you, Periphery.
Yeah, and the joke that we had was, who's Dance Gavin, or are you excited about Dance Gavin Dance? Fuck those
fools.
Because we didn't know him, and it was like 4 or 5
And it's
of
a
us.
stupid name.
And we were just enjoying the show, and we didn't understand it, but they came out, and they were phenomenal. They fucking made us laugh. We were into the music. They grooved, and we ended up going back and seeing them several times. And like Matt said, he became friends with them, and they're very, it's weird, right? Because now we're on that other side of the spectrum. We're not just on the entertainment side and the consumer side. We're kind of on that real side, right? We know them, so we get that aspect.
It's so real that half of Dance Gavin doesn't even like me anymore.
As a band, you want to. You're just gonna write if you're really gonna play to your standards and your liking. You're only gonna write what makes you happy, and you're only gonna write what makes you flow, right? What gets you going. And for whatever reason, Will Swan has that about him, where he can just draw other people to write with him in like weird ways. And I think that Dance Gavin Dance is a band that will stand that test of time, man. They're going to be like a Fish. They're going to be like a Yes. They're going to be a Rush. They're going to be a band that is weird and iconic in a way, and they're going to have their festivals and their shows that they play where they get sellout crowds, and they're going to fucking all smoke pot, and they're going to, yeah, bro, they're going to fucking get into it, and it's
What's
Dance
crazy
Gavin
to
Dance.
me is when I like
yes.
Dance Gavin, I didn't know a soul besides Bryan who liked or heard of Dance Gavin.
Yeah,
and
yes,
It was
knows.
the first album, Downtown Battle Mountain. I didn't know anyone who knew him. The second album, which was untitled, quote, the Death Star album, whatever you want to call it, I still didn't know anyone who liked them. And I went around town. I burned a lot of copies of that album for people in Palm Springs. So shouts out if you ever got a copy of that shit from me. I know I still got 2 autographed copies of that shit.
We got it from
in my room.
We got it from FYE, no?
Oh, dude, no, we bought
it from the album, from the show. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. I bought it at the show, and you borrowed it and didn't give it back for like a month.
Yep. Yeah.
No one knew who that band was, and now they're one of like the mainstays in this scene. But I can understand where Joey's coming from, where he says he doesn't like the math rock portion, because Will Swan's got that really weird personality where he's into something 1 minute and he's over it the next, and he says a lot of random shit. He's quoting random movies, and that's exactly what plays out on guitar. As soon as he plays something cool, he's over it and he moves on to something next. And so you get these groovy portions, and they move on to something weird. And that's always what the band's been about. They've been very talented musically, and through all 3 vocalists, they've been very talented musically. Let's just move into the interview segment. I was going to ask Joey, who are some of your favorite bands?
You
told me you like Stick to Your Guns.
Stick to Your Guns, I think, is my number one. Because my number one changes all the time, but currently they are my number one.
Fair enough. Is it because like when you hear like a new album from an artist you like maybe a year or two ago, you're just like, oh shit, these guys are still dope as fuck. I love this, and you play the album out?
Yeah, but cause Stick to Your Guns is so hated in like both like the metalcore community and the hardcore community
That's
for
fucked up.
some reason. Like I don't know why, because no one can figure out what they are. But they kind of just, because one of my favorite songs by them, Married to the Noise, is like their love song to hardcore music, and like it makes me happy about that too. Just because it's a really great scene, and they also like, oh, they're very like, they're socially driven when it comes to music too, which I think like artists need to start bringing in more. Kind of like the Rage Against the Machine vibe to it when it comes
Having
to.
a message behind the music.
Yeah, because I mentioned earlier about like metalcore, or some tired like it's good for some bands that talk about like mental health and stuff. Like that's always needed to talk about, but like it's always great to talk about like what's really happening in the world, because it's not so black and white.
There's definitely a balance to be had with that, because like you said, you didn't like of Amity Affliction because pretty much every single one of their albums deals with suicide in some form. um i
Mhm.
I definitely have dug of like maybe two entire albums by them, and then I'm kind of picking and choosing what I like by them. So if you push the same issue down my throat, I'm gonna get sick of it. But the fact you said Rage Against the Machine, I remember being a small child, not knowing a goddamn thing at all, and hearing Rage and be like, "Oh, I want to protest free Tibet and free Himalayas." I didn't know shit, but I wanted to protest everything because they made me want to get out there and do good. And I that's why I've always had like a certain feeling for those Christian bands that stay true, because if you're going to push a message as strong as like Christianity or faith, I'm for it because you're really about it, and music is the right way to do it, because in music you could go both ways. You can be that super death metal band that's like promoting death and Satan because Satan was the angel of music that fell from heaven, blah blah blah, the Bible, God, yada yada. And then you got like bands like the Devil Wears Prada, who I always thought were heavy as shit, and they could attract a crowd to Christianity and to having faith. And as soon as their set was done, they told you briefly, really briefly, hey, this is what we're about. This is what we think. You should feel it. If you want to talk about it, we're here for you. And I thought that was really cool because they didn't shove it down your throat like For Today, which I thought was the worst Christian band probably ever in
Yeah,
the scene.
like for today, like their music can go like, it can be pretty hard, and it's actually like I can enjoy it, but the fact that they're like shoving it down your throat is what turned me off of it.
And I agree with you. The music, like Crown of Thorns, I thought was a cool EP. It's heavy, but Matty Montgomery is not a very likable dude if you're not Christian. I mean, they talk about abortions are like being Hitler. They say really controversial shit, things that I would never touch, things I would never think or talk about, and that's why For Today is no longer a band, and they're, for the most part, For Today, I don't know if it's Maddie or the guitar player, but they're a full-time pastor now. And I'm
It is
sure that
Maddie,
at
yeah,
one
because I used to follow him on Instagram, then I got sick of seeing it.
Hey, for
I feel you.
to the band's credit, Maddie only came in like right when they were filming the Agape music video, right, for that second album. So Maddie
That
came in
doesn't mean he's getting into heaven.
right. No, it doesn't matter. But right when they started picking up steam from Face Down is when he came into the band, and I think that he was, you know, there's something to be said when a band has a really impactful first album and then they like change singers. And I think he was one of those bands. He was one of those guys that went into those bands that had a lot of steam behind them, and they picked up, right, especially within that faith-based fan base, and they went with it a little too hard. And I think they expected a lot of the Christian bands to kind of follow the Devil Wears Prada, a Ghost
Every
Souls,
solid state band ever.
yeah, Dog Burns Red. I think they expected those bands to kind of follow suit because they were at one time like the ones to pay attention to. And everyone was like, nah, man, it's no, we don't care. Like, we just want people to kind of be about it. Like Devil Wears Prada was like, hey, this is what our music represents. You don't have to be into the music or into the faith to get us. You can
They
be
didn't
into
tell
one
you
or
to
the
just
other.
agree with them. They
Yeah.
said, if you want to talk about this,
Yeah.
we are available. And,
Yeah.
I didn't have that conversation with them. but they were readily available if I wanted to talk to Mike or Jeremy or anyone
Very
from that
vocal
band
about it.
and ask them, hey, what is this about? They would have been open to it. And shouts to Matty Mullins and Memphis Mayfire, who was very open and honest in his interview that I did with him. That is on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/iHateTheScene. He talked about, and I'm glad he brought this up, the Solid State bands. Solid State was kind of a label that only signed Christian bands.
I'll name them
I
off.
believe
You
there
ready?
was only...
I'll give you like 5, 6 of them. I'll give you.
Go for it. Do it.
Fucking Haste the Day, August Burns Red, 1,000 Foot Crutch. There was
Sleeper.
Sleeper. There was As Cities Burns. There was
Cities Burn.
Hey, and a lot of them had Valiant Thor. A lot of them had very reputable, a lot of good reputations. As Cities Burns.
The only
phenomenal.
Christian
Haste the
band
Day's phenomenal.
The only non-Christian band that was signed there at the time, what do they call it? He Is Legend. And don't ever ask them to play I'm Hollywood because they are super fucking pissed about that song. They won't play it anymore, so I will no longer go see them on tour. But I felt like a lot of Solid State bands were kind of doing it for the image. They say they're Christian because, and I got to credit my original investor in I Hate the Scene /Scene Radio, Bernard Morris, who brought this up. Christians take care of their own. There was a time when they presented me the idea that, hey, you should only interview Christian bands, and I didn't want to limit myself to that. I wanted to be involved in the controversial realm of things, and so I said I didn't want to only interview Christian bands, but if I did, then I could take part in certain things like Christian bands play at churches where they cater and they will feed you and they take care of their own and they like to promote their own, and I didn't want to take advantage of that scene. Because while I am a Christian, I don't want to exploit that, and I don't want to alienate myself by like only being about that. Because let's be real, I'm a fucked up individual. I say a lot of fucked up things. I don't sound like a Christian, so we never went that route. But that doesn't mean that Christian bands can't come on here. But a lot of them, and especially in that Solid State era, used it as a gimmick. And that's what me and Matty Mullins talked about in that interview. That's why it's so relevant to today. That a lot of them were just trying to get the clout, like, oh, we're Christian, you can like us, we're cool, blah, blah, blah. And at one point between 05 and 08, there was a certain Christian metalcore sound that was really heavy and kind of edgy, but it was just like branded as nice, and you were instantly accepted. And that's kind of bullshit. You know, if you're going to have a message like, I don't necessarily like Cane Hill, but Cane Hill always had a very upfront message. When I was on the entire Warped Tour for 2016, there was, I don't know if it was Silent Planet or what Christian band had played.
Silent Planet is actually a really good Christian band.
Fuck,
Silent
son,
Planet
so
is dope
good.
as shit. I'm pretty sure it wasn't them. It might have been a local band, but somebody played and they had a big spiel about abortion and why it's wrong. I don't know why you would say that during your set. I don't know why you'd open that way. But Cane Hill immediately went up after this and said, yo, if you want to get an abortion, fuck that shit. You get an abortion. You do whatever the fuck you want. And that's what we stand for. And they were very blunt about their message of be an individual and do whatever the hell you want. And while all my friends are telling me, yo, we really like Cane Hill, I was always kind of cautious, like, I don't know. These guys seem really fucking aggro. They have some cool songs. Their message is dope as shit. Shouts to them. I liked that they came out and said that. Like, hey, the artist before us said this, but fuck that. We're about this. And you're right, Joey. Not a lot of bands have messages nowadays. I know Dance Gavin. Tillian writes his lyrics about certain things, relationships mostly. John Mess's lyrics, the screaming, mean absolutely nothing. People rumored that they were about dreams. They don't mean shit. They don't mean a goddamn thing. They're random shit he writes down. Slit her throat on the frying pan. There's no extra meaning behind it. It's just things to say. Stick to Your Guns, I've always known to be a straight edge band, kind of with a message. Who are other bands you think have a message? Because I'm trying to think. I don't know any core bands with a message nowadays.
I know they get a lot of hate, but Straight from the Path.
They're dope, and they do sound like Rage Against the Machine.
No, yeah, they definitely get their sound from raves. Like, you can easily hear it.
I don't mind it, because they are fire, and their vocalist is very distinctive. Like, it's their breakdowns too. If you played me like 3 seconds of their breakdown, I would know who it was.
Yeah.
Are we talking like religious messages or just messages in general?
No,
Any
political
message.
wise.
Okay, cool.
Or yeah. Oh,
I mean, and so like Devil Wears Prada, they come to mind, right? Just because they are a little bit, I mean, they're still relevant, but they are a little bit more prominent in the scene. They are a little bit more well respected, and they still carry that message, as Matt was saying. War of Ages, we are going to talk the religious aspect, they are still a band that's very relevant. They're still a band that is very popular. They still speak their whole religious message, and they do so in a very like bland way, in a way that's not going to be overpowering. And when I say bland, again, I don't mean in like a boring way, but in a way that's just not overpowering. It's not, hey, you guys have to believe in this in order to be a fan of our music. You just have to understand that this is what our music is about, and this is what a lot of root of our content is about. And if you're going to enjoy it and understand it, you have to understand where it comes from, which I respect. You have other bands that take that aspect, and maybe it's not a religious perspective, but they still take that, hey, I don't really necessarily care what you guys think about. It's just about having fun, or it's just about loving one another. Let Live was a band that did that. They always had a message at one of their shows. We Came as Romans is a band that still has.
Let Live.
Yeah, We Came as Romans. I mean,
Yo,
they still do a message.
A lot
at their
of
shows.
people forgot about Let Live, but they
because like I've been like the past couple days I've been listening to Fever 333, and I was like, and then you just reminded me about Let Live, and I was like, man, I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, man, and I mean they're doing their 10th anniversary thing, and they'll be prominent here in like a sec, right? But I mean,
I can
Jason
see
Butler,
Let Live being that main like Warped Tour doesn't exist anymore. R.I.P. Hopefully there's a new one coming up. I can see Let Live being that main stage Warped Tour band that on their very last song they tell you some big spiel about like be an individual, be who you want to be. They could very well be like that political band and completely get away with it because of how their sound is and how they already reach people. I saw them one time.
It
was a good show. It was them, Architects, Inner Shikari. I don't know. It was really
beautiful show. Architects is beautiful. Architects also has a message, especially since their guitarist died.
So
right?
good.
They have a message during their shows that is pretty prominent, and they're very outspoken in their content. They're very anti-religion. They're very anti, atheists, or they are atheists, right? They're very
anti-God,
outspoken in their message, right? A lot of Carl Sagan scripts that they have in their
Sagan!
songs.
Shouts to Raul Longoria and Memories in Broken Glass for Carl Sagan quotes being in your intro to a metalcore band. That's always cool.
Yeah, I mean, and so there are bands that I think still do project their message, and going back to the early metalcore Christian bands that you were talking about, Matt, the Solid State days, and again, these are the bands that kind of bred me, I guess, right? So I'm defending them, but I'm also agreeing with you in a way. Yes, there were the bands that took the cookie cutter approach and that copy paste. Hey, we're just gonna sound like this band to be big. But there were the bands that paved the way, that did stay true, that are considered probably icons today. Haste Today, Under Oath. Let's take an O Sleeper. Let's take Terminal, which came from O Sleeper came from. Terminal was like an indie band that they sang like love songs, and then they came, the guitarist and the vocalist left, and they formed O Sleeper. So there's roots in these groups that I think that it sticks to the people that have the true message, right? The vocalists or the guitarists or the people, the spokesmen of the bands that do have that true message. I think that carries through in the artistry of what drives the bands, right? You see that with Under Oath, you see that with Memphis Mayfire, you see that with a lot of bands that are still popular. The ones that are fake. We know them. We're not going to name them, right? There's a couple of them that you know pretty well.
Before their eyes.
Yeah, a graceful, any Chris Reuter band. I
don't think Before Their Eyes is fake with their message. They're just fake with their songwriting, because I know for a fact Joey Sturgis wrote at least 2 of their records.
And
so that kind of bugs me.
I'm a huge Chris Reuter fan, and I love Rotor, whatever. I love
Chris Shelley is so mad at you somewhere right now.
Whatever, fuck Chris Shelley. I love like Moths to Flames. I think like Moths to Flames is phenomenal. And hey, I even kind of liked At the Skyline. So if Chris Shelley really wants to battle me about messages and Christianity and the music, we'll talk about At the Skylines too.
LMTF was dope. I've seen them twice. I enjoyed them. I'm still.
I've seen them once. They did put on a really good show.
It was heavy, right? But the singing was terrible.
100%. That's when you can tell his vocals are very processed and worked on.
He ain't going anywhere. You guys think he's going somewhere? He's like the fucking Peyton Manning of fucking metalcore scene.
Shouts to Johnny Craig, who called Chris Reuter an Under Oath ripoff, and now whenever I see Johnny Craig and I need him to remember who I am, I tell him, hey, you said Chris Reuter was an Under Oath ripoff, and he goes, yeah, I remember that interview. Fuck that guy. Shouts to LMTF. I thought Like Moss was dope. They had some cool records. They're heavy. He can't sing worth shit. Speaking of bands that can't sing worth shit, Motionless in White, Memphis, not Memphis, Miss May I. Miss May I, oh my God. Was it Ryan Neff, the dude who chiefed all my weed at the Whitechapel show, that can't sing worth a lick? There's a lot of those bands.
Hey, can we be honest? That's not the original bassist. The original bassist was phenomenal. They took on that other bald dude for whatever reason. And
Ryan Neff!
That other bald dude.
The other bald dude is Ryan Neff that chiefed all my weed.
He's bald and sings like he should be in Switchfoot. And doesn't make any...
Oh, shit. Since we introduced this interview segment so shittily, because whatever, I hate the scene. That's what we do. Joey Ruthless, Mr. Ruthless, would you explain to us what exactly it is that you do and why you do it? Because to me, you have awesome TikTok videos. You're that guy from TikTok, quote unquote. How do you describe in your own words what the hell it is that you do?
It's also new to me too, because I started actively using TikTok 2 months ago. So
and he's already up to 30,000 followers. So that goes to show
Matt's been at it for 6 months and has 1,000 followers.
Yeah, I'm trying. I got 430, and I'm proud of him.
Soon I had to hop on TikTok too, because once COVID started, and the quarantines started happening, it's it was something that just blew up. So it's you gotta hop on the trend. You gotta hop on all the trends.
A quarantine success right in front of us. Wow, that is phenomenal. Holy shit.
TikTok, what I've noticed about TikTok is it's for a younger crowd, and I'm 32, you're 19. I have at least 10 years on you, but you goddamn, you have killed TikTok, bro. I searched metalcore and I found you, and you said this is the best metalcore callouts, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know those were called callouts.
Oh
yeah, oh man, I am a sucker for callouts too, because it's something that every heavy band has done, but it's very underrated until you point it out.
I tell every unsigned local band that's ever smart enough to ask me for advice, I say you need lyrics that stand out. ADTR, disrespect your surroundings. You need something that's going to be very easy to print in bold print on a t-shirt. If you don't have because they're not going to be able to decipher easily what you're screaming. So if it's not easy, fuck your mother, bum bum, dun 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 dun, then it's not something that's gonna stand out. If it's not the song title that you're yelling out, if it's not an arf arf or a bleh, then how am I supposed to remember what song it is?
Joey, what's who has your best blah? Your best blah? Who gives it the best?
What is I don't listen to them anymore. I really can't enjoy them anymore. But Austin Carlisle out of Mice and Men, no, because that shit comes from deep within. He's getting that phlegm out.
Which song?
I think it was the Storm.
Okay.
Because I did put it on one of mine. I think it was the Storm by Of Mice and Men. It was on their Flood album. That was probably the best one I've heard, because you can legit feel the phlegm that is coming out of it.
Inappropriate joke warning. I just want to say that bleh is fueled by Marfan's disease or whatever the hell he claims to have.
Oh no, I should be laughing at this.
Are you ready for my favorite blah of all time? The Architects. The
Architects does have some good ones.
He has the most relevant and probably the best, because their music's still good, unlike Of Mice and Men's. And no, just joking. I really like Of Mice and Men's new shit with just what's his face on it. I really
Jamie's Elsewhere singer that I don't remember his name.
They were a real quick shout out. Before COVID hit, they were supposed to do a Jamie's Elsewhere 10-year anniversary of They Said a Storm Was Coming, and they weren't able to because COVID hit. But he was actually going to go and do that. So shout out to him.
They Said a Storm Was Coming was such a good record.
2010 synthcore, baby. 2010 synthcore.
I like that Jamie's Elsewhere album more than anything else Of Mice and Men has ever done. And since you were so kind as to ask me my favorite bleh, I'm going to tell you. I know. I will soon release a TikTok video that shows you why I think this, but the worst live band I've ever seen that had the best bleh, Sworn In.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Sworn In does have a good one.
I'm gonna fully take credit for this. I didn't get to tell you this story before we got
How
on air.
are you gonna take credit for your own story?
I'm
what
gonna
does
take
that
credit.
mean?
I'm gonna take
What?
credit for this song because
Okay.
when I met them, I said, "Hey, I like when you do the blez," and he's like, "Oh, thanks, man. We get a lot of hate for that." And I said, "You know what? I think you should do a back-to-back bleh. Do 2 in a row. Fuck the haters, bro." And he said, "Yeah, that's a cool idea."
Dang,
and he brushed
and
me
he
off.
used it. And he used
And
it.
then,
Make
and
them
then Tyler
suffer.
went and cried into a Kleenex about some ex-girlfriend from 8 years ago. And sure enough, their next record came out, and what did we hear? A back-to-back. Blah, blah.
Okay, wait. I take that back on my Austin Carlisle one. Going back to Make Them Suffer when they were deathcore. Their first
Yep.
album, Weeping Wastelands.
Yep.
They have it twice, but it's 3 back to back.
Yep. And it's a breakdown gets slower, I think. It like
Yeah.
goes down a half tempo every single time. He's like, blah, and it gets lower, and then it's like, blah, and it's like, dun. And then he's like the third blunt, it's like, dun, like really low, and it's super intense.
I'm going to butcher this name, but Manuela Dieke. I said that Hispanic when it should be Danish. She said, "I have to say Aaron Pauli is way better than Austin Carlisle.
Wow.
I'm not saying their music is better now. I am saying their music is better now. I think
It is.
Aaron Pauli, the singer that used to be in Of Jamie's Elsewhere, way better than Austin Carlisle."
And Josh
I
Kyle.
just don't like his screams all that much. I like Austin Carlisle's screams because it was different. It was
Fair
more like
enough.
a yelly kind of,
Yeah.
but I don't really like Aaron's all that much.
Did
Wanna know a
anybody
secret?
listen?
You want
Go.
to know some beef that I heard? I was able. Okay, shouts out to Attack, Andrew Wetzel, Andrew Whiting, the 2 dickheads in the
Love
band.
Attack.
Shout out,
They
give me a
were-
guitar.
Yeah, they did.
Attack
they
was the
did.
band that got me into the music I listen to now.
Yeah,
That is an interesting story.
we interviewed him and they gave me a guitar, my guy.
Big shouts to Attack 2009.
Beartooth,
2010.
baby.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, interviewed him 3 times. Had to edit 2 of their interviews because Caleb from Beartooth, his dad is a pastor, and did not like the fact that they talked about their penises. Big shouts to them for giving us a Schecter guitar. Oh my god, they told me this was on their first nationwide tour. Attack was the opening act on an Evergreen Terrace Maylene and the Sons of Disaster tour.
He
that
is
they
legend
didn't
played.
fit in on.
Or no, Showbread.
They
played.
might have. They didn't fit on this bill at all, but it was
Nope.
like every band at that time that was getting signed was thrown onto a tour just to get out on the road. Whose dog is that? Shoot that dog.
Yeah, that's
This
mine.
thing-
I'm sorry. I'm gonna
this
go.
Oh,
thing-
shut up real
I thought it was
quick.
Brian's dog. No, you're
No,
fine.
dude,
I was
my
gonna
dog
say,
don't
Brian,
bark.
shoot your dog.
My dog don't bark. My dog's
This
good
was
as
at a
shit.
time when they were throwing bands on whatever national tour they could fit them on. So Attack ended up on this Maylene and the Sons of Disaster headlining tour. I know Showbread was on it. I know My Children, My Bride was on it. His Legend, maybe.
No, it was Showbread. I mistaken Showbread for his legend.
Okay,
It's Showbread.
was For the Fallen Dreams on that? Because it was all like hardcore, like Christian
No,
bands.
Graceful was though.
A Graceful, yeah. Oh my God, Casey from A Graceful, Make Love on a Rocket Ship. He gave me the most boring interview fucking ever. Fuck that guy.
Yep.
He's nowhere to be seen now. Attack's amazing. They told me on their first nationwide tour that Austin Carlisle was kicked out of the band because when it was time to leave, bus call, they found Austin fucking some other chick in a car. And they said, "Okay, dude, continue what you're doing," slam the door, and they left him. Problem was, they left in the van that he owned. They were touring in Austin's van. They kicked him out. Austin formed Of Mice and Men maybe like a month later, maybe a little less than that. And I know a lot of people flipped out because of Mice and Men became signed to Rise Records within an hour of creating their MySpace, back when MySpace mattered. Austin already had a contract from Rise. He'd already dotted the lines.
Yeah.
So, of course, he's going to still be in Rise. That's a smart thing that record labels do. You could sign to Victory and owe your life away to them. Hopefully that's changed. Or you
Probably
can sign to
No,
Rise
they
Records.
Victory sold themselves. They're fucking not even Victory anymore.
Yeah,
It's an
okay.
imprint.
I was told Tony Brummel doesn't run that label anymore, and
That's
that is
an
a
imprint.
godsend for all the bands on there. I know Broadside, who's a huge act right now, left Victory. They're on Sharptone now, so thank God for all
Really?
those bands
Oh,
able
good
to
for them.
escape.
Yeah,
I actually like
Exactly.
Broadside.
yeah.
Broadside was a huge draw on 2016 Warped Tour, pop punk resurgence. Austin Carlisle formed of Mice and Men. They were already signed to Rise Records when they created their MySpace. People freaked out saying like, oh, they don't even have like 15,000 friends and they're already signed. Well, he was signed before he made the MySpace. A lot of people were pissed off about that, but they kicked him out on their first nationwide tour. And from the sound of it, from each of the members telling me off air, Austin deserved every bit of that. Early on, I was really skeptical if Austin was actually sick. I'm a total asshole for that because I don't know the facts. I believe he is truly sick. He does have some sort of syndrome, but he dropped out of the band several times. It's your own fucking band. He quit it, and Jerry Roush took over at one point. Really weird history with Of Mice and Men. Their first 2 songs they put on MySpace were cover songs. One was Poker Face by Lady Gaga. It's just a really weird thing for me to remember. Because of all that, I've never really been a fan of Mice and Men because I've had a bad taste of Austin Carlisle in my mouth. Not that I blew him or anything, but I would if I had the chance because I like free show tickets. But yes, Austin was kicked out of Attack Attack. That was strange to me. Jerry Roush took over, who was in Sky's Airplane. Sky's Airplane fell apart. They got a second vocalist who fucking ripped them off. Weird stories. This is the reason you tune into I Hate the Scene.
Brian Zimmerman,
Zimmerman, shouts to him. He ripped off the band. Fuck that guy.
Who put out probably 2 of the best Sky Eats Airplane songs on the entire planet, Contour.
You shut your whore mouth.
Oh, they were so beautiful. Contour is a beautiful fucking song.
Your whore mouth. That 3-song EP, the Something of Symmetry. Fuck that EP.
The Sound of Symmetry and the 2 songs that are better than anything they ever did are called Sound of Symmetry.
She
and
is just a glitch in time. And Numbers are the best Sky's Airplane songs ever. You can eat my balls with that tongue that you're using. Yeah, fuck you.
Eat it. They liked Whataburger. Eat my ass.
Shouts to Lee Duck, who does a lot of bands lighting.
Lee Duck told us Whataburger was his favorite fast food place. Fuck Lee Duck.
Yo, I'm not going to say fuck Lee Duck because he's way cool. He does
he was
a lot
cool,
of
but
bands
Whataburger
lighting.
sucks.
I asked him if you could be endorsed by any product on the planet, what would it be? And he said meth.
He
so
did.
Shouts to him.
He did.
He did say that. Soma
and he walked
San
and hung
Diego.
out with us at In-N-Out.
Soma, San Diego.
Shout out
to anyone that lives in San Diego. I want to be your roommate.
Shout out to This Is the Hospital.
Random. Shouts to This Is the Hospital. They broke up fucking 10 years ago.
Old school San Diego band. Yeah, they broke up because the guitarist was in the military and he got drafted to fucking Iraq. Hardcore, son.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. Yeah, random.
Joey's like, oh shit, that's
if you're
deep.
a fan of Chevelle, or if you don't like looking up bands on easy services like Apple Music,
Chevelle met Alisana. That's what This Is the Hospital was.
This Is the Hospital on YouTube because none of their shit is on Apple Music. So Joey, you make TikTok videos.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot we were talking about that.
Yeah,
I forgot what we were talking about. I went on this total tangent of 2009 that scarred me for the rest of my life.
It's what birthed this right now.
You make TikTok videos. I found you by looking up the hashtag metalcore, and I saw you saying this is the best metalcore callouts, and it just stuck with me. The first question I want to ask you is, where the hell are you going when you're in the car?
So I got asked that a lot. So I don't like drive anymore when I'm doing TikToks because I got a lot of comments about that.
Good idea. You'll crash.
Bravo,
yeah, good idea.
Bravo.
Don't do that and drive.
That expectation.
Where I'm going. So because of quarantine, I have lost my job. So I have an online store. Shout out to my online store.
Shout out to Joey Ruthless online store. Buy everything from there so you can support him and keep him alive and feed his family and his many children.
Whoa, hold on. Yeah, Ruthless Vault on Big Cartel. Yeah, I would go. Because my TikTok blew up, so like I always had to go to the post office and just mail shit. And then my dad also has a business too, so I was just doing deliveries for him as well. So I was just like always driving around.
Yo, delivery jobs are the best. If you have a clean driving record, sign up to a delivery job because that's what I do in my free time to make some money because the 808 listeners and viewers right now are not paying my bills. Thanks, people.
I thought you did security detail, my guy.
Oh, yeah, I was doing security detail at a Subway sandwich shop.
Nice.
But that also ended, so now I'm doing security detail at the Justice Kids clothing store at the mall.
Perfect.
Shouts to Justin K. Smith that was watching and called me and fucked up my whole vibe. Anyone listen to? Are you trying to say Bill Murray?
Yes, Bill Murray. The old guitarist singer Johnny Frank from Attack Attack is in Bill Murray. They're phenomenal.
I like Johnny Frank. He was a really good dude.
Hey, Joey, got one for you, man. So I remember being 19. I remember being just music was consuming my life. I was in a band. We fucking went to shows every weekend. We would spend days in different cities because we'd see several shows at a time. What is keeping you into the music scene right now? Like, what's keeping you excited about it? What's keeping you amped up about it? For me at 19, I mean, I gotta think like MySpace and shit was big, right? So, you know, we were in a band at the time, so we were promoting. So it was all about who we were meeting at shows. That's what was keeping us going. And then, like, obviously between 2005 and 2010, metalcore was like the shit, right? That was like prime time.
That was my life.
So that was me.
Core everything.
That was me from 19 to like 22, 23. So what's keeping you into music, man? What's keeping you motivated and what's keeping you like up on, you know, what's happening now, what's being released, what's good, what's not?
See, and that's something that I've been wanting to do too, but because like my job was so demanding, I could never go to shows. So like I could never meet people at shows. But I think for me, just like, it's also just meeting people online that I can, like any bands that I can meet just locally, or I pretty much the whole reason for my TikTok is just like finding the best like call outs or the best breakdowns I can. Like I think it's just that's still keeping me in it. And also the message too. And I wanted to go back to like stick to your guns, because like hardcore is definitely like a huge all about message, and stick to your guns had a line in one of their songs. It was like an interview that Zach De La Rocha did, and he's like, the lyrics in hardcore need to be the forefront of every song. I was like, that I 100% agree with. That is definitely what is still keeping me in it.
There's not a lot of 19-year-olds who want a message in their music, so I got to give you props for that, because a lot of them just like the mind-numbing content, the fuck your god, bum bum, dun 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 dun. You know, just a really hateful lyric before a breakdown. That always seemed to be what sells. Kind of like I equivalate deathcore to being gangster rap with breakdowns.
Pretty much. And hardcore is more angry and aggressive, like, because like, you know, metalcore, deathcore, that's but there's a reason, like it gives a voice behind that anger, which is the best thing ever.
You never got to answer us, so I know you like Stick to Your Guns. You mentioned Stray from the Path. What other like core bands are you digging right now, or all time, or on your favorites list?
Ooh, so right now, and I've become friends with them too, and they're such cool dudes. I wanted to shout out to my boys in Pushback, New Jersey hardcore. Check them out on Spotify. They're some of the greatest like beat down hardcore music I can listen to right now.
New Jersey. Shouts to Cherry Hill and the security guards at the mall that kicked me out. I fucking hate you.
Boundaries is great. Typecast is amazing. Turnstile is great. Turnstile is taking over.
I did not know they still existed. Right, I saw them years ago.
Dude, Turnstile.
Yeah, they came out with an album 2 years ago, but they've still taking over hardcore.
They've been around. They've been around for a
second. They have.
Hey, they got around more than my ex that cheated on me at 2010 Warped Tour.
Different podcast. Where are you at in Arizona, man?
I'm in Mesa.
Okay, so have you ever been to the Nile Theater?
I have, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's where I've been to the Nile Theater several times, and I've seen a bunch of bands there. So
no air conditioning. Shouts to them. Your owners, dude, get the fuck with the program.
Both rooms are fucking phenomenal. Both rooms are great.
No, it is great. That is the venue I go to the most.
Yeah. Nile Theater's phenomenal. So you're into like the whole metalcore or the hardcore, right? I guess like probably more than metalcore now. But are you into like any new metalcore bands? Are there any bands that do kind of keep that core style that are gaining your attention?
So like, I think new metal is hard to get into, because like a lot of it goes back to Rage though, because Rage had this interesting like hip hop funk, but mixed with like punk, hard rock, and metal, and like
now, bro.
Yeah, and they kind of like started a wave for new metal, but like new metal, they you couldn't top it, so it kind of just fell off.
How do
I
you feel
feel
about the
like
bands that are incorporating it, like North Lane, Thornhill? How do you think about those bands that are taking that new metal sound, the rap style, the more clean vocal style, and applying it to the metalcore breakdown, beatdown, like tempo?
So North Lane, I actually don't think are that bad because of like the
Okay.
funk aspect that they have to it, which is
Okay.
great because
All right.
it's just a nice groove that you have going on to
I
it.
love North
Oh
Lane,
man,
so
I don't remember the last time listening to Thornhill, so I can't really speak on
hey,
that.
I didn't like them when they first came out, but their 2019 release is phenomenal, so I highly suggest that. Just FYI.
I'd have to listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend it.
I like new metal because I'm 32 and I grew up in a time when like new metal in 1999 and 2000 was like the hit genre. So like
Mhm.
Stained Mud Shovel is like still shit I'll go Mud Shovel. It's still shit I'll go back and listen to. I liked how there was a lot of deathcore bands that if they wanted to make that advancement towards mainstream, they would incorporate new metal aspects, and I really appreciated that because it's hard. It's really hard to go from a fuck your god type of music and try to be mainstream. I felt Suicide Silence on the Black Crown EP did that really well. I want to know, how do you feel about these like metalcore bands or these hardcore bands that maybe they incorporate more singing than screaming? They cut out screaming completely. They try to go mainstream. Do you ever feel alienated as a fan of a band when a band goes mainstream?
I actually don't like it because like there are some bands that can go mainstream but stick to their roots, you know, and it's like they stick to the genre that really built them and that like um and then
Two
whenever they go
bands.
mainstream it's kind of just like if a band goes mainstream, so like a metalcore band like kind of starts to include more singing and they go a little bit more poppier, it's kind of like for it to me it's kind of like a fuck you to that genre that built them.
It alienates the genre. Two bands I want to mention
Hmm.
specifically to see how you feel about them from their debut to where they ended up. Asking Alexandria and Bring Me the Horizon. Do you like them now? Did you used to like them?
So I'll start with Asking Alexandria. Asking Alexandria, their first album, the album that got like everyone into emo
Stand Up
music,
and Scream.
like that one I think will always be great because it's like I think that kind of started like the metalcore chugging. Like it was so, I think so at least. I know you're shaking your head,
Stop
but
shaking your head, Brian. He's 19, okay? He came into this shit at a different time.
I
I no,
understand
I
that.
think
I
it I
understand
think
that.
they made
I
it
get that.
more.
I get that, and that's what's making me shake my head because I appreciate that you like Asking Alexandria, and I appreciate that album too. But I feel like if you're gonna appreciate that, and we talked about this on last week's episode, there was a sticker they used to put on the album, and it said if the Devil Wears Prada and Enter Shikari and Attack Attack all
And
made love, the baby would be Asking Alexandria. And for a second, you have to sit there and go, okay, for Asking Alexandria to put out this kind of album, and for what they are now, they're a band that's just doing whatever they can do to make them big. For
I
them
think
to
Asking Alexandria are kind of sellouts. Like
Yes,
they
yes.
definitely are.
So for
you're
them to
not
be
wrong.
doing that, we talked about this all last week. So for them to be doing that, and for them to be fitting that formula, and for them to do that for their first album, which was a metalcore album, that's a pretty big deal, right? It's a good album. I like that album.
Mm.
That's my favorite album that they've done, right? But put that into perspective. It's a copycat album of those bands. It's a copycat album of Attack
Oh, it
Attack. And I
is.
know you
Yeah.
said you like Attack Attack, The Devil Wears Prada as well. Enter Shikari. I would even say Drop Dead. I would even say, Ungraceful. I would say Before Their Eyes. I
Nobody
would
was
say
drop
bands like
dead.
that.
That's super
You
traditional
know,
screamo.
I would say bands like that, they copied A Day to Remember a little bit.
Mhm.
They copied those
They definitely
bands.
made like that part of metalcore mainstream though. Like they are what
They
brought
did.
it to the mainstream.
They did, and they've carried the mainstream name ever since, which has like
Yeah.
diluted it tenfold, right?
Okay, so since there's a awkward silence, I'm gonna
Well, Bring Me.
interject.
It was for Bring Me.
Oh,
Joey
Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah,
Joey Sturgis is someone we need to credit with the metalcore sound. He is
absolutely.
responsible for the guitar tone in The Devil Wears Prada, almost all their records. Attack Attack, they're definitely their records. Miss May I, Asking Alexandria's
Yep.
debut. Um, that's someone you can look at. Nick Sampson, I know used to work for Joey Sturgis. That's the guitarist for I Am Abomination. That's the
Hmm.
reason they sound so sick to this day. Um,
Their album might be album
metalcore
of the year.
Metalcore I thought was super fucking cool when I got into it because I am a huge fan to this day of Drop Dead Gorgeous and Devil Wears Prada. Drop Dead got signed. They told them about Prada. Prada got signed. They told them about Miss May I. Miss May I got signed. They told them about Attack Attack. That's why if you notice, every single band I just mentioned was all signed to Rise Records. They all fucking ended up there, and Rise became like that metalcore sound. They ended up using Artery Foundation as their management, and there became like this tightly knit group. I think you're on board with what you say about you don't like Asking anymore. They really kind of did alienate their fan base. If you showed me the new Asking Alexandria record and didn't tell me who it was, I wouldn't know that they're Asking. I'd say, okay, this is a decent rock record. If you showed me Stand Up and Scream, I'd say, yeah, this is a cool metalcore record. Completely different genres. The people who like Black Veil, they really are. People who like Black Veil Brides are who's gonna like the new record. People who like Prada, Attack Attack, Miss May I, name another core band because I'm too old to know the new ones. They're gonna like the old Asking Alexandria. It's a huge difference. But also too, I'm not too blind that when I listen to Stand Up and Scream, I still hear all the mistakes. I still hear the poor singing. I still hear the auto-tune dramatically.
It's not perfect, but
no, it's not.
It was still enjoyable.
That's what made core albums, though, right? Like that, because you got that live, you got that weird Broken Scream live, and you were like, oh man, it does sound just like the album, and that made you even more jacked on what you were listening to, really. And that's why I think bands, especially like the Devil Wears Prada and A Day to Remember, when they were able to belt out how their albums sounded, and they sounded like that live. Chiodos is another band. You're just like, what the fuck, man? This is why I'm into this music. You know, we talk about why we're into music and what's keeping us into it. It was because a lot of the bands that we mentioned were phenomenal live. They were beautiful. They had this era about them where they played live, how they played in the studio, and it transcended into that performance. And I think when you are 14, 15, 16 and you're in high school and you can't really do anything other than probably go to music shows, right, or go to concerts, that's how you're going to adapt. And those are the bands that you pick up on. Asking was that all wrapped into one on their first album, which fucking fucked, right?
He's having a blast.
Yeah. He's still on fucking All's Well That Ends Well.
Chiodos. Okay, so fun fact: when me and Bryan started a terrible metalcore band, Craigifer. Bryan's first song that he ever wrote originally, which wasn't original at all, was the beginning to the Best Friends Redefined. Good times. I totally lost my voice in your garage several times to that song.
Yeah.
I love Chiodos. They're supposed to come back, so maybe I'll cut myself again in my bedroom. We'll see.
Fucking Drugs is supposed to come back, not Chiodos. Drugs.
Oh yeah, you're right. My childhood will never come back, so Drugs is coming back. Whatever. Mr. Ruthless, do you know what, off top of your head, are your favorite breakdowns? Because I know that Dogs Can Grow Beards All Over was one of my favorite breakdowns when I was older than you, because I got into core music when I was in college.
I bet we have some similar ones. Let's go. Let's rate them.
My favorite breakdowns currently is Under the Wreath by Typecast, My Body in Bloom by Boundaries, and then an Attack song. I think it was The Confrontation.
The fuck?
That one
off the shittiest album.
Wow! Whoa, hold on.
Wow! Off the war.
I'm so glad because I didn't know what song he was talking about.
Off the war, you fucktard! Wow!
You cannot call the guest a fucktard. I told you that.
I'm sorry, album.
I'm sorry, dude. I just fuck with you. No, that's the worst album. That's the fucking. That's the album when you were like, okay, they need to break up, and they broke up 4 months later, and you were like, thank God.
Okay, I love that album because it's what started Beartooth, and Beartooth is one of my favorite bands.
It was the Beartooth prelude. Yes, absolutely.
No, 100%. That was, but the
and
one
I love
thing
Beartooth.
That,
I love Beartooth.
The one thing that draws me to that album is the bass tone in it. I love heavy bass so much.
Hey,
and the bass tone in that.
I'm just talking shit. That album's great. Attack Attack is great. They're legends. I put Attack Attack up there with The Devil Wears Prada and Drop Dead Gorgeous because they were, man. They had crabcore. They got made in fun of. They got put to shit. But hey, somebody put on Reddit the other day. They put Shred Right and Blue, which was off their first album. Someday Came Suddenly, right? They put Shred Right and Blue in the audio version up, and then they put the version with Caleb as the screamer up.
Really?
And when they did a lot of the songs off of Sunday Came Suddenly, they drop tuned them and they slowed them down a tempo so they would match the self-titled album that came out when Caleb was the vocalist. So when they would do that and they would play it live, it was like you were almost getting the new version of Attack Attack. They're legends, dude. I love Attack Attack.
Shouts to anyone that's seen Attack Attack when Nick Barnwell from, what was it? What the hell was his name? Forever We Came Falling, I think was his band.
Yes.
Shouts to anyone that's seen Nick Barnwell.
He was their merch guy, and he fucking took over and became their vocalist. And he was in the Stick Stickly video when they're in the desert and they're all in black and they're doing the crabcore stuff.
God.
Yes.
So
yes,
Attack Attack told me as soon as the Stick Stickly video came out, they said, "Have you seen the video?" I said, "Yeah."
They did two of them.
They replied.
They did, yes.
Yes, they did the desert
to
one.
Me, it sucked, didn't it? And I said, well, it didn't have a cohesive story. And they said, dude, it wasn't at all what we had planned. And that could be said for a lot of bands that play their song in a forest or a warehouse. Because, of course, we know that's the only two acceptable settings for a metalcore band.
Because the original Stick Stickly video was a house party, and they released it. They ended up releasing it. There's like a raw footage of it or something, and it's them in a house party, and it's like turns into a DJ set. And when Stick Stickly turns into a DJ set, they're on the stage and they're dancing. They all have glow sticks, and then they get into the breakdown.
The blood,
and
the Mexicans.
No, that was the People's Elbow. That was the People's Elbow.
Oh.
Stick Stickly was their opener, and it was a desert music video. But the original music video for that was them in like a fucking nightclub, and they would it was dope. And for whatever reason, they went with the desert themed one, which was like, why the fuck are they in a desert?
I don't think it was their call.
Why are they all wearing black? They're all in pitch black clothing, jeans.
It's not the best thing to wear during the
and they're just
desert.
like fucking crabcoring out. And
Andrew Whiting is forever immortalized in the crabcore video where he's crabbed out.
Everybody talks shit about that video, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Crabcore lasted for like a year. It was stupid. They stopped doing it because they knew it was fucking dumb. But Attack Attack is a band that lives in infamy within the scene for sure.
Crabcore is hard to do as an adult because
no, it's not. I'll do it right now. I'll do it right now.
Do it right now.
You want to see it, dude? You want to fucking
do
it
right now?
I'll do it right now.
I quit. I fucking quit. I quit right now.
You ready for this? My chair might get in the way. I'm gonna turn it. You ready?
That was great.
We're about to get real low, dude. Ready?
Brian's fucking doing crabcore on the show again, dude.
Dang,
I can't
dude.
Oh my god.
How low am I getting?
specifically
dude?
told him not to do crabcore.
How low am I
on the
getting?
show.
Look at this. I'm below the desk.
He's doing it again, bro.
Your butt needs to at least touch the floor once.
I do squats.
Yeah, definitely find me a new co-host, dude. I can't stand someone that does
Oh shit, my
crabcore
camera
on the
disconnected.
goddamn podcast. And see, it's his camera disconnected, dude. He's not even fucking professional. He's interrupted the guests like several times, and he called him a fucktard. Yeah.
Attack Attack is what got me into like heavy music. Like, like not even like on purpose. It was on accident too. Like I discovered Attack Attack on accident.
I'm actually really glad you said that because one, Attack Attack was really, really good to me when they didn't at all need to be. Maybe they just didn't know that they were going to be huge at some point, but I did. So I got to do 3 like early interviews with them, and they blew my site up. So I'm forever in debt to people like Andrew Whiting and Andrew Wetzel and Johnny Frank and oh man, what was the dude's name? Johnny something else. They were just good dudes.
Oh, the bass player? Yeah,
he was the bassist. Yeah, he was the bassist.
Also, if you're ever in a successful band, one, don't quit like Shaylee Dayshell Borgett because you'll regret it and hate your life forever. But also, don't change your band name because you ruin your online legacy, which when you break up, that's all you become is an online legacy. And so they eventually changed the Attack social medias to Drudges, which I think was Andrew Whiting's new band that never really took off, and they screwed up everything. So now when you search them on social media, you never find an accurate representation.
Well, it used to screw up everything because there's two versions of Attack, and this is how I found them too. Because I used to play like I'm a huge fan of the Guitar Hero games. And
they were in a Guitar Hero game.
The UK version,
there was downloadable
Attack.
Yeah,
was on Guitar Hero.
And they had Attack without the exclamation point.
Yeah, and so I had found that, and I was like, "Oh, the song is great." It was like You and Me, and I was like, "Oh, Attack is great." And then so I looked them up on YouTube, and then completely found like Stick Sickly, and I was like, "This isn't what I just listened to."
Yes. It's completely different.
Oh, the blood, oh, the massacre. So when me and Bryan went to go see them, we brought somebody else. Was it Conrad? Someone we brought with us. We went to go see Attack. They were on this random Evergreen Terrace fucking Melee in the Sons of Disaster.
I'm not going to mention who we took.
Okay, fuck that guy. And we went to the show, and they were nice enough to give us a guitar because the guitar straps broke on their Schecter, and I'm pretty sure it violates their endorsement deal. But when we showed up, we got there late, and they were playing The People's Elbow, so we completely missed their set. And as I got to Chain Reaction in Anaheim, shout to anyone who ever grew up going to shows. They're amazing, tiny venue.
I've always wanted to go to Chain Reaction. So
it's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal.
I'll take you there one day, bro. It's fucking dope. It's like fucking. It's got to be less than 500 people. I've been to several shows there where they oversold it.
Capacity's 250. They oversell it, and it hits a 300 max capacity, and you have to be in the snack stand to hit that.
I've literally been with girls that were underage that said they told us we were drunk and we weren't allowed to go in. I've never had a sip of alcohol in my life. And I said, it's because they're at capacity. Go up there and say your dad is the fire marshal and you'll call him immediately if they don't let you in. And guess what? They got in.
Yeah. I've been there when it's been at capacity, and it's fucking nonsense. It's one of the most ridiculous experiences of all time.
Devil Wears Prada, A Day to Remember, did a co-headline tour called the Sweet Brag Tour. I think Miss May I was on it, maybe like For the Fallen Dream, some of those other breakdown bands. And they did, like 2 or 3 back-to-back dates at Chain, sold it out. And they specifically did Chain Reaction because it's a small venue and people are going to beat the shit out of each other. You know what's crazy is the sound is not even that good at that venue. It's just like one of the probably the best all-ages venue in the country because their website is allages.com. God damn, that venue's great. And me, Kev Ghost, I know if we ever show up there, we get free wristbands every time because they just fucking know we used to go there all the damn time. Fun venue. Fun times.
Funny, the Devil Wears Prada story. I actually went to their Chain Reaction show when they went to their Back to the Roots tour, which was right after the Zombie EP came out. So they were doing a bunch of shit off of Dear Love and Plagues, and they played at small venues. So they picked small venues around the country that had small capacities because they were basically going back to the roots. They picked Chain Reaction, and like halfway through the set, they just got done playing a zombie song. They go, "What song do you guys want to hear?" And basically opened it up to the crowd, and halfway through, somebody goes, "SpongeBob Grind Pants." And Mike goes,
that's the like rare
"We're
B-side
not
they had
playing
on the
that
internet.
song next." And someone yelled out like "Goats on a Boat," and he was like, "Perfect." And they went right into "Goats on a Boat," and I was shook by 2 things. One, I was shook that someone had the gall to yell "SpongeBob Grind Pants."
That was a MySpace song they had.
It was on their playlist. Yes, and they covered SpongeBob. They covered the intro to SpongeBob, and they just growled it, and it was phenomenal. But it came out right when like Dogs Can Grow Beard was all popular, and they had released Dear Love, which was just a re-record of their original album, and they released this with it, and it became like a hip thing, a scenester thing, right? And they had SpongeBob memes all over. He was in tight jeans, and that shook me. Second, he goes, "We're not going to play that." Next, someone goes, "Goats on a Boat." He goes, "Perfect." They go immediately into "Goats on a Boat." And so either that person that was in the crowd was like was a fucking shill and was placed there by the Devil Wears Prada to prompt the "Goats on the Boat" reference, right? Or the Devil Wears Prada is just that good where someone shouts "Goats on a Boat," they go, "Perfect."
If it was me, I'm shouting "Gauntlet of Solitude" or "Texas is South" or "Swords, Dragons, Diet Coke."
The sentence trails off. Yes,
one.
"Swords, Dragons, Diet Coke." Yes, So we actually hung out with him at I don't know if you were there actually, but we hung out with them at the Warped Tour in 2008, and
I was not there.
we asked why they never play Swords, Dragons, and Diet Coke, and their response was, "Bro, it's an 8-minute song," and that was it. We're like, totally
Hey,
makes
it's
sense,
not my
bro.
fault you decided
Totally,
to do a Christian band that didn't have any song structure.
totally get it, dude. Totally get it. Why you don't play it live? I understand. It's my favorite song on the album, but I understand. Not gonna.
I think we need to bring back silly song titles.
Some bands try to and they fail.
Yeah, definitely.
I was always a fan of the really long, like exuberant song titles, like
Yes.
Bears Make Money, Bulls Make Money, Pigs Get Slaughtered, The Word's Best Friend Redefined, The Undertaker's Thirst for Revenge is Unquenchable. When me and Bryan were in a shitty metalcore band, I titled a song something ridiculous that I'm probably too drunk to remember. I believe That of Which Truly Exists in Your Eyes Are in Fact Airplanes, I think was the song title.
Yeah.
It was written about, shouts to Laura Blomgren, who's not listening, and you broke my heart, I hate you.
Womp.
Totally about her. But I love song titles like that. Side note, I believe that if you're going to be the heaviest band in existence, you're probably a band that was created today, because bands from the 70s, 80s, and 90s can no longer be the heaviest band in existence. In your personal opinion, Mr. Ruthless, who we value your core opinion so much, who do you think are the heaviest bands in existence ever? Maybe today, maybe ever, whatever.
In existence?
Wow.
Oh crap! That's probably good. I'd probably get like all the elitist hating me too.
We're all for that.
This is something that I would say would normally take some research and some time and dedication. So I'm not
Oh
gonna
no,
hold
it
you to-
would.
I'm not going to hold you to any answers you say, but this is a tough selection here.
No, it really is because like heavy music goes into so many like variations too, and like some of the heaviest stuff I would say is like grindcore, like doom metal. Like,
Yes, AC/DC
Like, that goes-
just released a new album.
Shut the fuck up, AC/DC. I'll tell you my 3 favorite heaviest bands in existence.
Oh,
Maybe
please.
you'll play off that.
Oh, please.
Infant Annihilator.
Wow.
Shouts to the Egg album and Stephen King. I know he, not the author, my homeboy from San Antonio, Stephen King. Huge fan of Infant Annihilator. If you ever meet a guy that tells you his favorite band's Infant Annihilator, you know he's fucking insane. Black Tongue from the UK. And Humanity's
Black Tongue. Wait, yes, Black Tongue is stupidly heavy.
Their vocalist straight walked out of the tour bus as it was driving and got injured and canceled their U.S. tour. True story.
Traitors is a really heavy band too.
Okay, yes, me and Matt were just talking about Traitors.
We brought them up, yeah.
I've seen Traitors a couple of times.
I have too,
shit.
but not by choice. Humanity's Last Breath, who is like Buster Oldenholm from Vildhjarta.
I got
He
you,
does
Joey.
the 8-string or maybe 9, I don't know, maybe they're up to 12 strings now. Progressive deathcore, they're
Jeez.
fucking heavy.
12 strings.
Yeah,
Oceano's really good. I'm not all into deathcore, but Oceano is pretty good.
Deathcore is always going to be like a little favorite for me. Like maybe not so much the new bands, but if you play a deathcore band that I used to listen to, we're going to become best friends. Like I think Whitechapel and Suicide Silence are 2 of the best deathcore bands to ever exist. I have a soft spot in my heart for Oceano. Depth, shouts to Adam Warren. You scare the shit out of me. Such a soft-spoken guy for someone that's so brutal.
So large.
I accidentally saw his cock one time on isanyoneup.com back in 2000.
It was actually a Lysol can.
Yo, it might as well be, but it was bigger. Shouts to him. That shit was terrifying.
Brutal albums. Are you done, or was that it?
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
So
Share.
if we're gonna stick with like deathcore, kind of, and we're gonna go brutal, and my top 3 aren't deathcore, but I would have to say Lorna Shore falls in there somewhere of like most brutal. One of them, not in any order, but one of them, No Innocent Victim. I don't know if anybody's
what
an
that
old
is.
school No Innocent Victim fan. Old school like hardcore metalcore, like back before
Rose
metalcore
Funeral.
became Metal, no. Back before, kind of around the Rose funeral time. Yeah, kind of around that time, to be honest. Back before metal became too metal-y. It was more like hardcore-y.
Acacia Strain before I knew other deathcore bands.
No Innocent Victim. Acacia Strain I didn't want to say because I thought that'd be a cop-out. But yeah, Acacia Strain. So number 2 would have to be Harm's Way. Do you listen to Harm's Way?
In Harm's Way?
Yeah.
Harm's Way is considered...
I mean, heavy. Are we going just?
Hey,
deathcore
it could
or
just
heavy?
be
I was
heavy.
just going heavy. Yeah, no, I was just going.
Because I think Harm's Way is in the whole fucking like hardcore.
They're
side.
hardcore for sure. No, I was just going heavy. I just saying.
Oh,
heavy.
I thought we were still on the deathcore.
No, brutal. We're going heavy, brutal.
Heavy
Way.
brutal.
Harm's Way is one of them for me. Definitely only because if there's anybody that's more scary than the screamer for Oceano, it's probably the screamer for In Harm's Way because he's fucking.
This one I'd have to look at my Spotify for like brutal.
Yeah, and then my third one, if I had to pick right off the top of my head right now, fuck. Oh, probably, honestly, of all time, Jane Doe by Converge is probably one of the most.
Converge.
I was gonna say, if you say the Diary of Jane by Breaking Benjamin, you will be excavated from this. You'll be excremented.
Someone in my
Converge.
comments, someone in my comments of TikTok asked me if Breaking Benjamin was like pop punk.
Maybe because pop
they're alternative.
It's
they're
not
barely even metal.
It's not punk, but it might be pop for sure. Converge, I don't know if you're a Converge fan, but Converge, all their albums are extremely brutal. And fun fact, the lead singer of Converge does the artwork for Asley Dine's album. He wasn't involved in the conspiracy to murder the dude's wife, but he was involved in
Wow. Nobody under the age of 30 is a fan of Converge, FYI.
What the fuck are you talking about, son?
Shouts out to the 108 listeners we know, 109 that we now have that are thinking that Ocean's 8 Alaska's new stuff is kind of heavy. Okay, Ocean's 8 Alaska
Shut your mouth,
I don't think
Cameron.
is heavy.
Shut your mouth, Cameron.
But their music is kind of cool because their
Not
drummer
heavy at all.
writes it. So
Not
it's
heavy at all.
Oh, their drummer is probably the most respected drummer like in the community. But Ocean's 8 Alaska, I don't know, some of their stuff like I can't remember. I think it was like the first. No, because I remember the one that like really stuck with me is their first song on their fucking
where they're playing on the edge
off
of the
their
cliff.
most recent album. I can't remember what it was.
I was thinking.
I like their artwork.
I was thinking of their first music video where they're playing on the edge of the cliff in front of the ocean and like.
Oh no, not that one. It's like their most recent album, but it's like the first song on there. Like the last like beat down in that song is like stupidly heavy.
I want to say they were on 2016 Warped Tour because I saw them selling merch and they had like their album cover on a T-shirt. It looked dope as shit because it was like a.
They were because I think that was before they did a vocalist change.
It was the album with the
or was that
flower.
After?
Yeah, it was the album with the flower on it. I'm pretty positive.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
No, when they were on tour, they only
was the
had
with
one
the flower.
album. They only had the one with the fucking seafood on it because it made me want sushi.
The
every time I
seafood
looked at
on it.
Lost Isles?
Yeah, I think that was it. It had like a jellyfish or some shit on it.
Oh, so yeah, that was before their vocalist changed then.
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely.
when I saw them too.
Being on Warped Tour is weird because if you like a band, you can't exactly go and like tell them, "Hey, you guys are cool. I listen to you periodically."
Periodically.
What is your favorite core genre? There's metalcore, deathcore, noisecore, melodic noisecore, vagina core. There's all sorts of shit.
So like
Vagina core? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of breakdowns with queeps.
Fucking Blackville Brides?
Oh man. Pretty
I
much.
didn't say it. You said it.
Yeah,
I didn't say they
Blackville
were
Brides.
untalented
Yeah.
musicians. You said it.
Yeah, Blackville
Oh,
Brides.
I'll say
exactly. Blackville Brides.
I didn't
Blackville
say
Brides?
that half of their musicians weren't mic'd up and plugged into amplifiers.
Blackville
You
Brides?
said it.
Blackville Brides?
I didn't say that their guitarist acts like he's fucking related to famous people or their singer's related to Andy Six. I didn't say that.
Blackville Brides? Are you talking about Blackville Brides?
Blackville Brides.
Okay.
Continue.
So metalcore is what got me into this music, but for me, it's definitely hardcore.
Perfect. So Harm's Way. Awesome. Let's talk about it.
The Harm's Way is good too. Like they've become such a huge meme. I'll have to like send you guys the page that I found on Instagram. But this weird like two-step, weird two-step that he did at I think it was This Is Hardcore Fest. Like
yes, no, but it was the Hall & Oates song. Bum, 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 and he's
yeah, but no, it wasn't the two-step. He did like this weird like Running Man thing. Like
yes, yeah, and he's like doing the thing. They put it to a bunch of like old school 80s songs, and it's fucking phenomenal. Yeah. And he's like running on stage, and the dudes in the pit are like swinging their arms, and he's just like running on stage, holding the mic out, running on stage.
I love how that's become such a huge meme now because it's the greatest thing ever.
The best is the Hall & Oates mosh pit video. There's a video of like a bunch of different scenes of mosh pits.
I like his
years.
Running Man.
Like it's fucking Warped Tour, Mayhem, and it's just a bunch of different mosh pits, but it's kids doing fucking a bunch of like swinging arm shit, and it's Hall & Oates.
Weird windmill stuff.
It's like Woman Eater from fucking Hall & Oates, and it's beautiful because it just matches what everybody is doing. Yeah, and it's just like the Harm's Way video. Shout out to Harm's Way.
I'll have to find that page again so I can send it to you guys. It is the funniest thing ever.
You can get by on your old man's money, you bitch girl.
So you just don't either way.
I don't know if Bryan has an essay worth of questions because we've already reached 2 hours. But the last question that I have for you, Mr. Ruthless, Mr. Hardcore Extraordinaire, do you feel that you will ever outgrow this type of genre of music? Because I know personally, I eventually got burned out of deathcore. It was too loud. When I started touring, I didn't like loud music. I wanted to come home and listen to chill stuff. And now I listen to a lot of hip hop and Tekashi 6ix9ine because I'm a piece of shit.
See, I hope not, because I got burnt out of metalcore, and then so it is what drove me to hardcore. But like, the difference between like metalcore and hardcore is like metalcore, everyone tried to sound the exact same because there was some sort of formula going around, so everyone started to sound the exact same to me. But what like with hardcore, there's so many and I have to like explain this to people too. There's so many different variations of hardcore. Like I mentioned Turnstile earlier, and I know you guys recognize them. Like they're considered hardcore. And like people don't think that, but like they are, and like
they're like a
you
punk
can listen
though.
to,
they're like a punk hardcore, which is weird.
Yeah, like they lean more towards punk, but like it's still considered like hardcore a little bit. And so like there's that, but then there can be like really like heavy bands, like for example like Harm's Way, or like the big one like now is like Knocked Loose. But like there's so many different variations of it. Like you can get on anything and love it.
What do you think about the bands that were metalcore and aren't necessarily going straight hardcore, but they're definitely going more beatdown? And I want to say In Heart's Wake, right? You shared In Heart's Wake in your fucking breakdown call-out video. What do you think about their new stuff? Because their new stuff is really beaty, dude. Really, dun 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 dun, like open chords. And there was even, they had their Suicide song. Their most recent Suicide song was fucking super beatdowny. And it's like, I get it. Your last couple albums kind of alluded to that, but to just go all in onto the beatdown, and then their second single is like back to their old In Heart's Wake style, and I'm just like, what are you guys trying to do?
That's the one thing that I love. Instead of like metalcore bands like selling out, that's the one thing I love. It's like kind of like experimenting with other forms of heavy music instead. Yes. Because like instead of going the popular route and selling out, that just makes it more of like it's not about music anymore. It's about the money. Yes. And it's like if you just start experimenting with different heavy sounds, because guaranteed more people will start to like you.
Yeah, with what you like even if you're in it, because I mean with a lot of bands you want them to progress, right? You want them to mature a little bit, you want them to grow their sound just so they keeping things fresh, right? You don't want stale.
See, and it's always nice like getting a maturity out of it, but like there are bands that like still like have been around for like decades and they still make the same music, like Terror, for example. Terror's been making the same, like they have had the same sound.
Shout out to JJ. Shout out to Watermelon Jigga. Oh no. So I have a friend who loves Terror. That's his favorite band, and we joke about it all the time because they're one of those bands where it's just like you're either a Terror fan or you're not. There's never going to be a Terror album that's going to put you onto Terror. You're either like Terror or you fucking hate them, and most people fucking hate them, and that's unfortunate because they're fucking not a bad band. They're cool dudes. And
they're a bad band. They're just fucking terrible.
They're never going to get
Terror is a gateway to being a skinhead straight edge piece of shit.
Oh man.
Sorry.
I got called out. I got called out on TikTok once because
you referenced Terror.
I I heard you talking about like my best of Arf Arf or whatever, and you didn't know what it was. And I do want to talk about that after this. I got called out on TikTok because that I had said this is the best Arf Arf in hardcore, and someone had made a video and they're like, "This isn't hardcore. If you want to listen to real hardcore, listen to Terror." I went back at him and I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry, hardcore has evolved, and not every band has to sound like Terror from 2005." And they took it down immediately, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
You are wise beyond your years, because anytime somebody tells you this is real blank, like this is real beatdown, this is real metalcore, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
They're an elitist.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. Nothing in life, nothing in music matters but what the fuck you feel. So if they tell you this is real blah blah blah, it just means this is what I discovered when I got into the genre, and all my friends told me I had to like to be accepted into this group. It doesn't fucking matter, man. What am I gonna tell you? This is real metalcore and show you stickly? Like that's.
I got called out because I did a video on After the Burial. And I said that they were metalcore, and people were like, "This isn't metalcore, this is gent." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, gent isn't." God. I'm like, "Gent isn't an actual genre. It is a style of guitar playing." And I was
valid.
Like,
valid point. I even asked Lee, who did the gent sound in that band at the time, and I said, "Hey, what is gent?" And every band I asked at the All Stars Tour 2011, they were pissed off. Because I asked them, what is gent? And they all said it was a made-up word that somebody in Periphery made up, and that it's just a sound the guitar makes, gent.
It's the same thing with like crabcore. It is something that the fans made up, but it's not an actual like declared genre.
Meshuggah. People put Meshuggah in the gent category, and it's like Meshuggah's been around since like 90s. Oh yeah, Meshuggah, old school like Meshuggah.
If you're gonna say somebody invented gent, it's either Meshuggah or Periphery.
Yes. People hate the fact that you tie in Meshuggah to gent, but there's also like the elitists that are like, nah, man, that's their sound. They didn't label it gent, but that's their sound. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but the fact that you're just saying a word, gent, like, yeah, it's just a sound. It's just it's like saying that you like riding a hi-hat. Like it's fucking, yeah, they ride hi-hats in their songs. Like they're just a fucking band, you know. You can, if you say a band rides a hi-hat, you kind of can picture what they sound like, right? They're like, all right, it's just gonna be a band that's a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more, you know. And so gent is it makes me wanna bust my mouth.
Unless they're like local unsigned wanting to be something they're not. Nobody is gonna claim they're actually gent. They're gonna claim they're a more reputable genre so that their cast is like a real band. If you came out and said, "Oh yeah, we're gent," or God forbid you called it gentcore, people are gonna laugh at you.
It's so funny.
That's not a real thing.
The album that Casey, the gentleman that we're gonna have on here in a couple weeks, the album that he was on with Periphery, I'm almost positive was called Gentleman, and it's spelled gent. And I'm almost positive that's the album he was on, and that's what it was called. It was called Gentleman, and that's what it is. It's like the introductory album in like 2008.
That's the thing that Jared Dines did too, because he like made gent into a
Jared
meme.
is
and now people
phenomenal,
think,
dude.
But now
baseball or Canadian baseball or whatever he fucking calls it, it's fucking brilliant.
No, that's Jared Alonji. There's two Jareds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fail.
Yeah, that's what
Jared Dines is the other one, but Jared Dines, he like made gent into a meme, so people now think it is an actual genre because of that.
Well, yeah, because you have people tying it to Meshuggah. You have people labeling bands in it, and it's all bands. Like I remember when Woe Is Me, after Tyler Carter and them left, and it became like the new Woe Is Me. They had that opening riff that copied
with Doriano.
Yes, and it copied Periphery's opening riff, and I remember that was like the big beef, and that's when
Gent quickly died.
Yes, that's when Gent got real intense because they're like, "What Was Me is the new band in the scene," and it's like this, and I was like, "What the fuck are you even talking about?" And where's Periphery at in this? Like, I don't even understand why Periphery's being dragged in. I understand that What Was Me did this, and it just gets weird, and then you have other bands that kind of creep in by association, and you're just like, "What the fuck?" And I didn't even know Periphery invented gent. I thought gent was like a legitimate word. I didn't know.
I don't know who it was in Periphery, if it was Casey, Misha, or Spencer that coined the term gent, but Periphery is the band that coined the term.
Okay.
They're
makes
the
sense.
ones that came up with that term because of the sound the guitar makes. Gent. Now, if you're on the internet and you want to like narrow the list of bands you listen to into gent, yeah, it's gonna come up with After the Burial. It's gonna come up with maybe Born of Osiris. It's gonna come up with Periphery. Maybe it's gonna come up with North Lane. Probably not Meshuggah because you're 16 and you don't know who Meshuggah is. But it's gonna come up with all those bands. I don't have a problem with you breaking it down, but it's not a real like genre. It's just a made up term.
Yeah.
It's also if you were like to call bands like A Day to Remember, what was it? Easy Core, Happy
Easycore, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I did a
made-up
video
term.
about Easycore.
Who else is Easy Core? Chunk No Captain Chunk?
4 Year Strong.
4 Year
Chunk,
Strong.
No Captain
Yeah.
Chunk. Yeah, you're gonna get you're gonna have Fight Fair back in the day was probably considered easy core.
Wow, only people
if we're
from
gonna
San
get old.
Diego are applauding you for that one.
If we're gonna get old school,
I think I
New
played
Jersey,
Pokemon Go with 4 Years Strong. I'm not sure. Oh, it was 4
Really?
Years Strong. Yeah, I did.
If you want to like New Jersey, Easy Core came out of New Jersey for real. 4 Year Strong started it. And, like,
Set Your Goals?
No, Set Your Goals isn't going to be Easy Core. Fucking what's it called?
Affiance?
No, Close to Home definitely is Easy Core.
Yeah.
They're not a band anymore, but they were Easy Core for sure.
Any band that Tom Denny produced?
Yeah. Chunk No Captain Chunk for sure.
Yo, if you like Chunk No Captain Chunk, subscribe to my OnlyFans where I'll tell you an exclusive story about that band that's too hot for
you
TV.
probably don't want to hear it, to be honest.
Whatever
if you're listening
happened
right now,
to them? Like, they kind of fell
This
off.
story is what happened.
Yeah, I have an awful.
Is it something you
fucking-
talk about, like, on or off podcast?
Totally off podcast. You'd have to pay
podcast,
premium. Like
100%.
fees
No,
to get
you'd
that
have to
story.
tell me.
You're gonna
You'd
have to pay
tell me
Matt's
that.
legal fees.
Yo,
if he tells
maybe
you.
I'll tell you for you to spread it. It's a bad story, but
Yeah,
Chunk
it
is
is.
actually writing new music. When their
Are
album
they?
drops, I will totally go on Patreon. That will be launching soon, and I will tell you all this awful story about Chunk. And you will
Please
pay
tell me. I want to be
$5
the
a month.
first one to hear it.
It's bad. It's like not PC
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
not. We'll do it in the backstage right now. We'll do it in the backstage.
Oh,
I
dude,
kinda-
for
I kinda-
sure.
I kind of want to see your reaction here in a second.
I wanted to know what you guys feel because Matt, you talked about it like before we started about the arf thing. I want to know what you guys think about that.
What's ARF? Can you explain it to me? What's ARF?
So it is a new, like, not new because it's been around for a while, but like Knocked Loose kind of put it on the map, like they made it bigger.
Give me an example of the song.
That would
It
explain it
is-
because I rejected them when they came out.
Yeah, give me an example.
It is a new breakdown call out. It's pretty much like the new Bleh. Like that's me explaining it. Like,
Can you
so
give me a song? Can you give me a song?
Counting Worms.
By...
Counting Worms by Knocked Loose. That's the big one that everyone knows. I'd
You're gonna have to go to
my
his
playlist.
TikTok at
I'm
Ruthless
gonna-
Vaults
I'm
and
gonna-
listen to it.
I'm
I
sorry.
Ruthless dot or no, that's my Instagram. Ruthless Vault on TikTok. Yeah, I have a video on it, but I have a playlist of like all of like the arf songs.
What's the main one you said? The Knocked Loose song? What is it called?
Knocked Loose one. Yeah, Knocked Loose. Counting Worms is the big one.
I'm gonna listen to it real
Dog
quick.
Teeth. Dog Teeth by Boundaries. Crooked by Dealer. Spite does it quite a bit.
Where in the song on Knocked Loose does he do it? How far?
More towards the end. That song is like a minute long. So
Yeah. More towards the end? Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Fuck your 2 seconds. We're live.
It's going into the breakdown now.
Oh no, I think you might have passed it.
Oh, okay.
It's like a minute long song. Like you could hear it quick.
Where is it in the minute, do you think?
This
Go
is
like
riveting content.
I know. Go like 20
Continue.
seconds.
Just talk. You guys are good.
I'm glad you brought that up because like I'm 32. I never had a problem with like people saying "bleh" in a song. I know a lot of my friends did. Like, oh, that's fucking stupid. He's throwing up. I thought blehs were cool.
I like blehs.
I'm the one who made Sworn In Dude back-to-back blehs. I'd rather be a bleh than a bleh bleh bleh.
Oh, wow. He barks like a dog. He goes,
Yeah,
arf, arf.
it's actually a thing.
Arf, arf. He barks like a dog. Wow.
Yeah, there's a band
Holy
called
shit.
there's a band
Wow.
called Degrader. They have it in 2 of their songs. In Sinner by Encrypted, Hell to Pay by True Temper. There's quite a bit that have it.
I like Encrypted too. I'll have to listen to that song.
This
by
is how
Encrypted,
I
'cause
know
an
I'm
Encrypted
old,
fan.
because every band you mentioned that did an arf arf I've never heard of or listened to.
Definitely
and
not
Lindsay
all of
Nicole Bradley just mentioned Counting Worms, Crooked by Dealer, Dog Teeth by Boundaries. I've never
Dog
heard
Teeth?
any of that.
So Dealer, did you ever? This goes back to like Australian bands. Did you ever listen to Alpha Wolf?
No.
I did, yeah. I was
No. Oh, okay. Well, if you know them, Dealer is Aiden, like the old vocalist. That is
Okay.
his new band.
Cool.
Dealer is a really good band. They're signed to like Franz's record label.
Yeah,
I think,
Sharp Tone.
But
Sharp Tone.
Sharp Tone is not Franz's record label. His record label is Stay Sick.
That's right.
oh yeah,
Sharp
but
Tone is
Dealer,
a respected record label.
Oh
Sharp
wow.
Tone is really good.
Sharp
Dealer
Tone
is a
is-
really good band though. Boundaries is a really good band. I recommend.
So the
Speaking
arf
of-
makes me think of, have you ever heard these bands where their front man is an animal? I know one is a dog. I know there was a band fronted by a parrot at one point.
What?
I
What
cannot remember
fuck
the
are
name
you
of it.
talking about?
I swear to God, there was a band fronted by a parrot where it was kind of like Austrian Death Machine Kill Whitney Dead, where it's like ba-da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun. It's like a parrot or whatever, or like a dog. And like these are real fucking bands, man. God. Oh, I'm never gonna remember what the parrot band was, but there was totally a parrot and a dog band. And they were just kind of like jokes, like they were studio bands. But when you said like arf arf, I was like, oh, I probably have heard like a dog bark, but like these
Dude, that was
dudes
a-
are literally saying arf arf.
That was a dog bark and knock loose, 100%. It was an arf arf dog bark.
Yeah, it's an
100%.
actual thing.
That's the first
it's
time I've ever
hilarious.
heard it, and I hope it's the last time because that was god awful. That was so bad. I was like,
I put
what?
together a playlist of like
Okay,
all the
I'm
songs
gonna
I could
go-
find
I'm
that
gonna go.
has that. I want to send it to you guys so you could just like check it out. But
Please,
like
please email
it
it
is
to me.
hilarious. Like
Yes.
it's not to be taken seriously.
I'll
at all
consume it.
means.
I'll consume it, and I will 100% judge all those bands because.
Like a lot of them are really sick bands, but some of them, yeah, they're funny.
Oh, I'm a Knocked Loose fan. I didn't know that Arf Arf was a thing.
Yeah,
I don't-
that's like their most requested song to play live.
I bet.
I'm not a huge Knock Loose fan because I do suffer from migraines. Shouts to Riley Nicole who said arf arf. Troy Brisson said Attila. I have no idea what that was referring to. Cameron Turnham, if you were into underground backpack rap, check out Con. Probably not. Lindsay Nicole Bradley said arf arf with my guilty pleasure, and Daniel said same.
What about the Arf Arf is your guilty pleasure, Lindsay? Because that's just too many. I feel like that's illusion.
I can relate because Blez were my guilty pleasure. That if you
Yeah,
said
that's what I'm
Bleh in a
saying. Like
song-
it's the new bleh. Like that's what.
I want
Wow,
to see if you
wow.
agree with me on this. The worst bleh of all time, Stray from the Plath. Plath.
Plath.
straight from the path. I like the band, but their bleh is so like subtle. It's like so quiet and subtle. It's.
I'd rather be a bleh than a bleh bleh bleh. Yeah,
There's
I
a-
gotta listen to the arf arf shit. That's new to me. I only heard
I
it
yeah,
from
I'm
your
gonna
video.
send you guys that playlist. It's funny.
Somebody I want to say, it might be Boo, might be Born of Osiris, but somebody I saw live that has a bleh. No, it wasn't Boo. It was somebody else, but somebody I saw live that has a bleh went, instead of going super heavy into it, he went bleh. And then like the breakdown hit, and it was just like ironic because everybody was I think waiting for it, and he was like bleh, and it fucking hit super heavy, and then everyone was.
How do you guys feel about the? I did 2 videos on this, and people still ask me to do it. Is the ooh?
Oh.
I know Stick to Your Guns does it a lot. They're just the
Yeah,
ooh, like
upon a burning body. Is it,
Ooh or oh?
No, ooh. You do it real quick, and it normally goes into like a blast beat. Ooh. And it'll
Yeah.
fucking go in deep. Yeah.
I don't know so much about the ooh, but I will say that one of my favorite breakdowns ever is a ba da 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 da. Oh, and you should know exactly who that is. Bring me.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it from what you were.
Oh.
Pray for Plagues, bro. Come on, God. Act like you've never punched a guy at a hardcore show.
I mean, yeah, maybe do it how it actually sounds. Didn't sound like Play for Plagues.
Oh.
Pray for Plagues whatsoever.
You know what, Brian? I'm sorry I didn't break out my metalcore scream for that. I'm sorry I didn't break out the O like I did in your band, which I was so righteously kicked out of twice.
damn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
put you
every
on blast.
episode, Joey. This is how it turns out. This is what happens at 2 hours and 30 minutes of every episode. He
This
brings
is
up
what
the
happens
fucking
when you
band.
don't have
Damn.
He
closure.
brings up the fucking band, and it never goes anywhere. We just go back into blood talk, and I don't understand what happens. And now
Yep,
I'm actually
kicked out
glad-
twice.
Do we
Yep.
need to settle this right now? Like,
It'll never get settled. I was kicked
Yeah,
out
he
twice.
is it just gonna be
and,
like
No,
a
he
recurring
didn't-
gag in like
he didn't
every
get-
podcast?
He wasn't kicked out twice. He left and didn't talk to anybody for like 3 months. We put a missing
Hey.
persons report out. We put a missing persons report out, and he still didn't even respond to that. So fuck us, right? No, it's
because
cool.
I went on their MySpace and they were looking for another vocalist behind my back, and I found out they were trying to replace me, and so I stopped talking to him.
Because he went
rightfully
missing.
So,
Because he went missing.
because you were an asshole,
Yeah, because he went missing.
dude. Fuck you. I had to go and take a Chameleonaire beat and make a rap song and dish you assholes and use your fucking band name in the song title.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
want to hear that.
Cool. Next story.
It's
What do we got?
available on
Next question.
SoundCloud at a hidden link that I might send you later. Fuck you.
Ooh, how about this? If we're talking about beef, what about like
Beef.
band beef? Like
What's up,
you
what
know,
got?
in,
Let's
you-
talk
I
about
love
it.
it.
So like you know in hip hop, like they have like artists like will call out each other in songs. Like what about in like
Yeah,
like
we know.
metal though? Like what about
Two-
band beef?
2.5
I love
hours
it.
in. Let's talk about band beef. Perfect. Let's go. Who's got one? I got one right off the top of my head. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Craig Owens and everybody. We've met at least 3 or 4 bands that fucking hate Craig Owens. For whatever reason, Craig Owens of Chiodos is the biggest piece of shit
Totally
of all time.
unrelated, but shouts out to Vanna.
In fact, Vanna,
Oh my God.
Vanna, the Boston, Massachusetts metalcore band who eventually turned into a hardcore band. Shout out to Vanna, who loves us. Eventually, like we've hung out with them several different times. Referred to Craig Owens on several occasions as Craigifer because he was a bitch. Craigifer, and they said that there's 2 Craigeries. There's 2 Craigeries in the scene, and there's 2 Craigeries that matter. Craigery from Bless the Fall and Craigifer from Chiodos. And that's how they broke it down. And we were like, wow, everybody fucking hates Craig Owens, huh? And apparently that's just what
Except
it was.
me.
Oh, I love Craig Owens. Are you ready? Here's another one. You ready? Everybody in Ronnie Radke.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh,
And I
that
like
is-
Ronnie.
okay.
I'm not mad at Ronnie Radke. I was an Escape the Fate fan when he was in it. I don't like Escape the Fate after the fact, which is ironic because I like Bless the Fall with Craigery in it, but I don't like Escape the Fate with Craigery in it. So who knows what's going on there? It might be
Falling
some
in
weird
Reverse
fans.
is one of I get so many bands requested to me like to react to, I guess,
Fur?
that I just absolutely despise.
Are you a
And
Fur
Falling in
fan?
Reverse is one of them. No,
yeah,
I'm
perfect,
not.
beautiful.
The
Glad.
only thing I have to say about Falling in Reverse is I know the backstory with Ronnie, but I know a lot of good shit he's also done behind the scenes that he never asked for publicity on. And if you like Falling in Reverse's music, they are a flawless live band because they sound exactly like the album. If you don't like that music, you are going to fucking hate them.
Yep.
See, the
Shout
one
out.
thing about them live that has always bothered me, because the one time I've ever seen them live was I caught them at Warped Tour. I can't remember what year it was, and he was getting mad because he wanted everyone to get on the floor so they could jump up all at the same
And
time,
they
and like
wouldn't
no one
listen.
was.
It was 2016.
And no one was doing it, so he stopped the show for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, bro, like we're just here to see the music, not watch you bitch about people not listening to you, you know? So I was like, that made me lose respect for him.
You know why?
So I was like,
You know why nobody liked that? Because Every Time I Die started that in like 2008. So nobody liked that shit because everyone had been doing it for the last 8 years. And when fucking Ronnie Radke decided that he was gonna do it with Falling in Reverse, he said nobody gave a fuck. Here, let's talk about another relevant one. Amity Affliction versus Memphis Mayfire for a hot second, or specifically Matty Mullins of Memphis Mayfire. He would go
wait,
around.
I don't know this one.
Okay, there's videos on YouTube, you can check it out. But Matty Mullins around 2012 when Challenger came out, he would go out and start playing the Jezebel song that was on their album Challenger. And before they would start playing Jezebel,
And if you ever want to know what the song Jezebel is about, go check out my interview with them at iHateTheScene /c/I-hate-the-scene. Sorry.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
You want to know a fun fact about?
On the YouTube.
You want to know a fun fact about my emo days in high
for it.
school?
Yeah,
So
go.
every time I was like with a girl and like we were like breaking up or whatever, I would
And that was
reference
often 'cause
Jezebel.
you're fucking hot as shit.
Hey, yeah, no, for real. So, for reference, Jezebel came out when I was like 25, so that's cool. You were 12. Anyways, so when Jezebel came out, yeah, he would play it live and he would say, "Hey, this is dedicated to all like the whores and the sluts in the audience." And chicks and everybody would go crazy because, oh my God, it's Maddie Mullins talking about sluts and whores, and the song's
I
about
knew that
Jezebel.
song was about sluts, and he admitted to it.
Well, yeah, okay. So, anyways, after they would play on Warped Tour, and they would play the song, and it would be popping, right? Everybody would be excited about it, and then Amity Affliction would come out and go, "Hey, listen, you're not whores, you're not sluts, you're just people, and if anybody tells you otherwise, fuck them."
Sluts and train.
In particular, Memphis Mayfire, fuck those guys, and they would like count. I think what they did is they called out Maddie Mullins specifically of Memphis Mayfire,
Oh
but they did
no.
call him out. Yeah, and it was a beef for a while, and it was just because, hey, Maddie, you're going out and we understand what the song's about. Everybody gets it. The content's within the song, right? But now you're going like the extra step and calling chicks sluts and whores, and it's a lot of chicks that are going to shows that look up to you and probably idolize you and are probably
And
really
Maddie
into you.
apologized for that in my interview
He did.
available on YouTube.
He did absolutely, but that's like a relevant band beef for sure.
Wow,
Um,
that's
we
I
all
never knew
know
of that one. That's interesting.
Yeah,
we
real one.
know
You
about
can.
the "Woe Is Me" versus "Issues" band beef, right?
Yeah, and then
Oh, everyone knows that.
Frankie versus Franz from Attila. That was a band beef for a while.
Acacia
Oh my
Strain
god,
versus
yeah.
Immure.
That's
Ask your
true as
girl
well.
what my dick tastes like.
Yep. Yep, another Amir beef. Yeah, Amir's got beefs with like a bunch of people.
Immure versus every ex-girlfriend he's ever had.
I mean, we're talking about Attack Attack. Let's go Attack Attack and Austin Carlisle, Memphis Mayfire, Bam Beef, like or
Yep.
of Mice and Men. I mean, yeah, Bam Beef for real.
Johnny
Alpha Wolf
Craig,
Dealer.
Johnny Craig
Yep.
versus like Moss to Flames, graceful Chris Roeder. He, if you want to check out that interview, iHateTheScene.com. He called Chris Roeder an under oath. He called his wife a cunt live on stage. Johnny showed up to a show, fucked up on drugs, crawled through the crowd, climbed up on stage through the crowd, grabbed the microphone, and started to call out the entire opening act and say that that he was, I want to say, a homophobic slur, and he called his wife, who they weren't really married, he called him a cunt. And they weren't married at the time, and he aired him out in my interview, and it was just fucking awful. Johnny Craig, controversy magnet, but he's honest when he wants to be.
Anybody know the beef between Austin Carlisle and At the Skylines?
Whoa.
Is that talk? Can we talk about that?
I know At the Skylines, and I don't even know that. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
We both do. So apparently, I don't know this for fact, but I know some people that know people, right? And homeboy Mark, the screamer for At the Skylines, originally,
I'm not
no,
involved.
yeah, but you know, right? Do you know what I'm
I know
talking about?
Mark wanted to fight me at one point, and we squashed it.
Okay, so there's another beef, Mark and Matt, for whatever reason that was, whatever reason that existed, and apparently Mark and Austin Carlisle's former fiance for a while were like hooking up and were pregnant and had a baby, and that was like part of the reason that At the Skylines didn't
Oh
work out.
wow,
From what I heard.
shocker! SoCal bands hooking up. Oh wow.
I mean, I'm just
Uh-oh.
wondering. We were fucking talking band controversy. Not many people know
I'm
that
trying
one.
to think of a really good band beef, and I like one like maybe behind the scenes that people don't know, and I can't really think of it. Oh, no.
Oh wow!
Let's okay.
Wow, now he's going back on it.
I'll put it like this: if you're a fan of In This Moment, Ash Costello loves to cheat on her boyfriends, and there's a particular vocalist of a metalcore band that she loves to cheat on them with, and his name is Chris Motionless, and I'm not gonna say what band he's in.
Yes, you narrowed it down though. I feel.
All right, so now that we've totally alienated every potential guest that would come on our show,
Yeah, cool. I hate to see you. What's up? What's up, bitches? We here to talk shit. I don't know if you guys understand that yet.
sorry, Chris.
We're here to ruffle feathers.
Welcome.
Oh God, kill me. Joey. Now that your name is
Yo.
for sure Joey Ruthless, what
Oh,
the hell
I have
are you
legitimate-
promoting?
oh.
What's going on with you?
What am I promoting? I want to promote a couple things. I want to promote my boys and Pushback NJHC on Spotify because they're the homies.
New Jersey
hardcore,
son.
Yeah, dude, New Jersey hardcore. It's something else. And then I also just want to promote my big cartel. I'm actually coming out with shirts. probably in the next 2 weeks. I think that's when I'll have them. I'm making my first line of T-shirts, which has been in the making for 2 years for me. So on my store, ruthlessvault.bigcarshill.com.
Dope, man. That's awesome.
I want a shirt. I'm gonna buy several of them.
Oh hell yeah!
Are you into video games, man? What video games you into?
Currently, and I know I was listening to your guys' podcast today, and I can't remember who it was that mentioned they don't really like it. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I have been playing a lot of Call of Duty. It's the only game that I currently can play on my PlayStation right now because it is so much space.
Call of Duty and PlayStation, 2 strikes, bro.
Hey man, I grew up on PlayStation. I can literally bust out like the original PS1.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah, I was
I don't know if
born
any-
addicted to crack. You don't see me still smoking it.
I don't know if anybody remembers the game Crimson Sky, which was like the airplane game. Me and Matt used to stay up for hours on hours when Xbox Live first became a thing on the original Xbox, and we would play Crimson Sky against people we didn't know. Fucking 24 hours. We wouldn't go
Tommy
to sleep. We'd play this in
Tallarico
there.
from G4 Network that made all
Shout
the
out.
video game sounds. Shouts to him.
Yep.
That was a
you guys
good
ever play
game.
Guitar Hero?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
I
we used to
played
go
Guitar
to.
Hero 3, and then I played Rock Band, and I got kicked out of Nick Bartoli's house for playing Sabotage too loud.
We-
Sabotage!
We used to go to Best Buy just to play Rock Band in front of people.
Yeah,
I worked at
whenever
Best
they would
Buy,
have,
and I hated
whenever they would
people
have
like
the
you.
arcades.
Yeah.
I used to have, because I think it was whenever Guitar Hero Metallica came out.
Dave and
I would
Buster's.
go.
Yep, you
I
go
would
to Dave
go
and Buster's and
to-
do Guitar Hero.
Yeah, they still have that. I go there all the time to play it because my guitar doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
He's shaking his head.
I worked at a Best Buy when I was like 22, 23, and I fucking hated people like you that came in and played Rock Band and Guitar Hero.
Well, yeah,
and, like,
because
you
Rock
didn't
Band,
buy anything.
because Rock Band 3 was out at that time and it was lame as fuck. I was talking
Yeah,
about when Rock Band 1 came out, like back in like 2014.
I like Rock Band.
man. Come on, get with it.
Cameron Turnham says went to Best Buy to play Skate. Fuck you.
You went to
Yo.
you worked at Best Buy when they stopped selling CDs, son. You're fucking way old.
Hey, no. We still sold CDs because I specifically marketed the Tech 9 KOD CD to several people. Riley Nicole said fact, so that had to be about something I said because I only speak facts.
Oh, no.
I said I regret everything we said here tonight. Lindsay Nicole Bradley said OMG, which I'm sure is referring to all the awful shit you said.
Me? What did I
Riley
say?
Nicole said, "Why do you sound just like him?" Which I'm sure is in reference to situations. Yeah, it's because I heard it every day in 2016 when I was trying to go to bed and I wanted to fucking die. That's the only not the only time, but maybe the third time.
2016. What are you talking about, dude? That song wasn't played in 2016.
Because Falling in Reverse decided to play Situations every day at Warped Tour that
Did
year.
they? Gross.
Yeah, the trick was
Gross.
they would
Ew.
start the song and only select dates, which I want to say was 2 out of the entire tour.
Ew,
got
dude.
the whole song.
I don't wanna hear about it.
Situations, pause, and the crowd
wanna
would
hear
say, "Are irrelevant now." And
I
that
don't
would
wanna
be
hear
the end of it, and they would go into a different song. But the LA date and another date
Nope.
got the
I
entire
don't care anymore.
song, and it made me want to vomit and kill myself. And
Yep.
yeah, a lot of
Me too.
autoerotic asphyxiation in my bunk that year on Warped Tour.
Yeah, I bet.
You can find us at iHateTheScene.com. You can find me at iHateTheScene on Instagram. You can find me at IH8, the number 8, TE, the scene on Twitter because some son of a bitch named Michael has my fucking username. You can find me at TikTok at iHateTheScene. You can find me at your local strip club. No, I'm just kidding. I don't go there. You can find me at your local mall, probably at a finish line complaining about their shoe selection.
You can find
I'm
him at your
missing
local mall complaining, that's for sure. It
For
might not be
sure
at the finish line.
complaining.
Might not be at the finish line, but it might
You
be.
can find me at MySpace when I used to have 90,000 friends at myspace.com/WeLoveTheScene. Yeah, everywhere. YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you follow me on all social medias. And soon enough, we will not be broadcasting on Facebook Live. We will be broadcasting on every fucking platform you can imagine because we are slowly but surely taking over the world. Bryan, where the hell will they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at @ofbrianofdeath, and you can also find me in my podcast at commonchaos.net. Check it out.
Joey Ruthless, Mr. Ruthless, where can they find you and subscribe to you and become one of the 30,000 that follow you on TikTok?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok at Ruthless Vault. You can find me on Instagram at ruthless.vault, and you can find my Big Cartel, ruthlessvault.bigcartel.com.
And be sure to subscribe to his OnlyFans at ruthless.vault.cock.
Yeah.
It's the only channel I follow him on.
Hell yeah, gotta support.
He does a lot of arf arfs.
We gotta really.
That's all it is.
It's just him naked doing arfs.
We gotta really
Arfs and
stop
blahs.
doing these 3-hour podcasts because I'm gonna have a really long Saturday and our guests fucking hate it.
Hey, bro, I texted you at an hour and 10 minutes. Hey, so much for an hour.
Well, you know what? I'll just start bringing on really boring people,
Oh,
and we'll have
shit.
a 45-minute podcast, and our
You should
fans love that.
We can go to the backstage and talk about this right now, but we definitely don't need to air it out. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Joey, for fucking coming and hanging out, brother. We appreciate you,
Yeah,
man. We
thanks for
love you.
having me.
Thank you, man. It's gonna be awesome. We can do more podcasts in the future.
Oh, for sure.
My
Gang,
favorite is the metalcore callouts video on TikTok.
Okay, bye.